It's been a pretty crazy day so far. We've seen two NA teams advance. We've seen BDS catch a loss, and also NIP caught a heartbreaking loss as well. But this, by far, is the most exciting matchup that we've been waiting for all day here in Montreal, Six Invitational. But things are going to be a little bit different right now. Milo, Sharonic, Jesse did an amazing job on the desk. But my name is Veli, and I'm going to be here with the one and only Dev Marta, APAC representative, and also my man, Emzo. How do you guys feel so far?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it's Dev and Devin on the desk for the first time.
We're hyped about this.
Yeah, and it's my first time working with you, Veli, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time to be on here because this is going to be such a good match. I think we're going to have a lot of fun, both here on the desk and watching, because I mean, this is a matchup right here. I mean, the story.
It's insane.
The invited team versus the team no one thought would make it this far.
To be fair,
crazy.
Dev Marta thought they were going to make it far, but the one team that was invited, let's go ahead and see who's on this team. Let's take a look at the roster I saw in G2 at the moment. So, can you tell us a little bit about G2, Emzo?
G2, obviously, they've struggled a bit in the recent past. These are the guys that were two-time Invitational champions coming into this with the invite of all things because for some reason they've just been struggling so much they can't make it. But you know why they get the invite? Not just because they're the reigning champions of the invite, but also because they show up at LAN.
Yeah, they're one of the most deserving teams that could have possibly gotten an invite, but Sir Boss, all the way on the right side of your screen, he is the latest pickup for this roster.
Yeah, he hasn't necessarily come out of the gate strong in terms of the stats portion, but he's really been enabling the rest of the team to do or play how they want to play. And I think that was something that Fabian mentioned and Pengu mentioned was the problem previously when they were playing with Krine. They needed someone who was an experienced support player to lay that foundation and allow players like Uno, in particular, to really flourish.
Now, this is where things get a little bit more exciting. The team that no one thought were going to be Team Empire is going to be Fnatic. Let's see their roster shortly. But tell me a little bit about Fnatic. I know you're pretty ecstatic to see them up here right now.
Oh yeah, well I've been casting these guys for a very, very long time. And in fact, this will be, if they win this match or one more match during the playoffs, this will be the fourth Invitational main stage that these guys will have stepped on, at least the name of the brand of Fnatic. And well, these guys have been here for a really long time. And I think with these roster changes, bringing on techs and mentalists, we're trying to finally understand whether these guys have what it takes to play with the big boys.
Yeah, you know the names, you've seen the players, but we got a video about the two of these guys, and let's go ahead and see what they said about each other.
Let the smack talk begin.
My name is Lusty, and I'm a support player for Team Fnatic.
I'm Kanta Rakette in G2 Esports. My role is entry fragger.
So our first game in our group was against Empire. We're kind of playing a long con game for this match. First, we lost to Empire. We knew they were very strong on bank. So as soon as we lost that map on Coastline, we knew that we were probably going to lose the rest of the match. Our goal was to not show much so we can win against FaZe or Dark Zero, which we did. And now coming into the decided match against Empire again, since we were so strong on Coastline, they decided to ban it. And they're not really familiar with Kafe. So I guess our map pool gave us an advantage because our map pool is much larger than them.
So yeah, the last game, first map Villa, we were quite surprised that they were so bold to pick us on Villa. I give them respect for that. They have like never played it on official matches. So yeah, on that map, we just played our default, how we play usually. We had all confidence that we would beat them.
Feeling very confident since we just beat what I consider the top EU team.
Anybody who comes against us, I really don't care. We just play one game at a time, and whoever it is, we will try to beat them.
And there you have it. So let me make sure I understood this correctly. Lusty said that they were actually saving strats to face Empire the next time.
I mean, the saving strats meme has been around for so long, and it was kind of G2 that started it. Fnatic has jumped on that bandwagon as well, and like, I was talking to Shaz, who's the coach at G2 this morning over breakfast, and he told me straight up he does not believe that Fnatic threw bank, does not believe that they were saving strats, and I guess the proof is in the pudding. We'll have to see.
They were genuine about it.
Yeah.
They weren't lying.
They're adamant.
But you and I, we also spoke with some more of the coaching staff along G2's roster, and Fresh actually said, I said, hey, Fresh, who's the one player on this team that you're really scared of? He said Tex.
Yeah.
Why Tex?
Yeah, and I think that's a big question mark. Tex is the unknown quantity for a lot of these teams. He's been playing in the ANZ Pro League locally for a long time on a team called Sinister, but he hasn't made it his international debut. That is right now. I think that as a very confident fragger, he brings something else to the team that can... He's just got really good gun skill. He's happy to make entries, really good comms, and he's got a confidence that I think G2 are really kind of scared of.
Yeah, G2, they said, you know, Tex is the one guy on that entire roster that's not going to be afraid to challenge any 1v1 you put in front of him. There's a big chance that he's going to win it. But also, let's take a look at the head-to-head. Tex and the man himself, Uno. Tell us a little bit about both of them.
Yeah, Uno was a little bit of an earlier roster change we saw going into Rally. There was a little bit of struggle early on and him kind of finding his place. But finding his place, he definitely has, especially this event. You can see some great stats from him there. Rating looking a little bit better than Texas because Texas had some hit and misses. But Uno, really, this whole event has just been on. He's been on fire. I think he's feeling a little bit bad about his Rally performance, and he's one of his most biggest critics. And he's absolutely like, I'm making up for it. He's been playing the most flexible roles. You saw him earlier on Fuse of all things. He'll pick up Sir Boss's role on Capitao. He'll rock that buck. He'll do whatever. I assume Fabian or whoever else goes, you're playing this? And he's like, I'm doing it. And
he's okay with it.
And he's the most cold-blooded. You see him after every round. He could clutch a 1v5 ace, and he would just be looking like nothing happened at the end of the round.
And I think Uno was one of those players, when he joined G2, he was met with so much criticism, like you said. When he joined the team, played at Raleigh, he didn't have such a good performance, but so far he's been the most consistent player on this team in the Six Invitational so far.
No, let's talk about that for a little bit. So, the world's best, the universe's best, Fabian. He's had off and on games so far in group stages, but Uno has been consistently at the top. What does G2 have to do in order to withstand and beat Fnatic right here?
I think part of the question mark here is if one player, for example, Fabian, who performed really terribly against Reciprocity, but stepped up then when they played against BDS. If you have one player like Fabian not stepping up, you need another player to fill those shoes, whether that's Kanto, whether that's Pengu, whether it's Uno just being consistent throughout. I think that's something that G2 boasts, and they're going to be taking into this match.
Well, the important thing for me on that is, while Fabian's been somewhat inconsistent, Uno's been there, and Kanto has finally been showing up. He has had such a struggle during the online season where we've been like, where's the Kanto, the frag machine that we know, this little hobbit beast that just comes out of the Shire gunning? But he has been showing up. And, you know, it doesn't have to be every match because he shows up when it matters. And that's why G2 are here right now, is because they have players like that doing it. And you know, Sir Boss, he's not doing a whole lot, but you know what? He's staying out of the way. And that's something that Kryan wasn't able to do because when they picked up Kryan to replace Goga, they were picking him up as a fragger, right? So other people could take Goga's role. But no one else was doing Goga's role like Goga did. So instead they got Sir Boss, and you know what? He may not be doing it to the extent Goga was. That's fair. But at the end of the day, everyone else is stepping up and saying like, that's all we needed. Get on Capitao, throw some fire, we'll throw some bullets, we got this.
But that's the thing, this is a team game, and when I was having breakfast with Dizzle yesterday, I said, it's really weird, you know, Sir Boss comes on this team and everyone makes fun of his stats, and Dizzle said, yeah, he's doing his job, he's a support player.
There's only so many kills to go around.
He's not supposed to frag out. So Sir Boss has been fantastic, and matter of fact, in his first ever professional game with G2, they beat Empire. That's a tall task.
Yeah, and that's why you do have to take a qualitative look at the matches, not just a quantitative look at the stats. Sir Boss has definitely been doing his role, and once he gets more comfortable with the team, once he gets familiar, reacquainted with the main stage, I think he'll certainly be stepping up in that department as well.
Now, I know you're tired about us talking about G2 and Europe and NA, but Mentalist, one of the latest pickups for Fnatic. What makes him so special? Because it seems like he's had one of the hottest hands this event.
Yeah, well, Mentalist has actually been a star player from the APAC region since before he was 18 years old. He was part of what's now the Giants roster, and he wasn't an active player, obviously, because he wasn't allowed to play in Pro League when he was underage. As soon as he hit 18, joins that main roster, and then within 2 or 3 events, he goes to Japan, and they beat the now Rogue roster. This guy is absolutely nuts, and he's been really holding his own here on Fnatic.
Emzo, I want you to be honest right now. did you think Fnatic had a chance at all to make it out of groups?
Honestly, with Mentalist, I felt like it was a bit better. I didn't really know Tex well enough to know that he was going to be such an impact on this team.
Yeah.
Because to me, what we were all counting on Virtue before, to be that guy, to be the Ashe main to run and click heads. But because now Virtue and Tex can divide that job up, and then Mentalist is shoring up a lot of that middle ground, like they found what they needed. It was a little different story than G2 in terms of what they needed to pick up, but they found it. I feel bad for Giants, though. Had they been able to keep Mentalist, they might have made it a little bit further, because now you see Mentalist was part of that key, because now Fnatic are here and Giants aren't.
Yep. So you guys heard us talk about this matchup a lot. Let's jump a little bit further to see the map veto screen to see what these teams are going to play today.
I'm so excited for this, Veli. I was talking to you a little bit before the game. There's a lot of question marks here, and in fact, some key maps have been left in for Fnatic. For example, Villa, their most banned map, has been left in, and I think it's a bit of a gamble here as to whether G2 is going to pick that to try and exploit a weakness from Fnatic, but it's a huge gamble, as Fnatic might have been practicing it this whole time.
Important thing for me, though, is G2 banning Clubhouse. They had a really bad performance on it previously, and it's been a really good map for Fnatic. Fnatic actually not wanting to throw bank again. That's their first ban as well. So I think those were good initial bans. And it comes down to the picks here. Border being, I think, a pretty good one for G2. Not that G2 really have any really weak maps in their meat pool, their map pool. But Consulate also, I think, is a pretty good one for Fnatic. So obviously, I think they both got the maps they were hoping to get.
Yeah, Kafe is a map that Fnatic hid for this event. Yeah, so Villa, I pre-phased that earlier. I'll talk about Kafe first. So Kafe for Fnatic, it was a map that they've hid up until this event. They haven't played it with the new roster. Come in to this event and they beat both FaZe and Empire on that map. Clearly that hiding that map has had a huge advantage to them. Now they've also hidden Villa and they didn't ban it even on their second ban. They decided to get rid of Consulate, which I actually thought they might pick.
Yes.
I thought they're so good on Consulate, they might even pick that map, but no, they're happy to leave that in. So there's a huge X factor, and if I'm G2 right now, I'm wondering if we do get to map 3, if we let it slip, could this be a serious challenge going up on Villa against Fnatic?
I mean, G2 did have a pretty good Villa play. I mean, they've played mostly single maps. They haven't been repeating a lot of maps, but Villa, they had a good performance in, but I mean, it wasn't as good as they would have liked. I mean, it's funny going back to G2 and Villa, because I remember a while back when we were talking about saving strats and throwing maps, like G2, I think it was back when we only went up to 6, it was like they got 6-0'd on Villa, and then it was like, did they do that on purpose? Because then they just decimated teams on it after that, and if Abe, he's insisted they just sucked, but there was always that question mark, just like with
you always wonder.
Bank. Yeah, you always wonder. So I wonder, are they doing the same sort of thing again, where they're like, we're okay on Villa, and then just like, no, that's the decider if we even get that far. The way GT do. I mean, they have 3 members of their main support staff now, and they're all just big brains. So that's all factoring in.
But there's still a lot of mystery to the fact that both of these teams had huge roster changes. So not a lot of VOD out with these new players playing on those maps. But fellas, I'm gonna make things a little bit more difficult for you right now. Predictions down the line. I know you can be a little biased and say Fnatic, but say it with your chest, Dev Martin.
I think we're going to go 3 maps, and I think that Villa is going to be a huge surprise for G2, and Fnatic are going to take it.
All right.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm gonna go for G2. They perform at LAN, regardless of how their online season went, how they should do otherwise. It's their prep they do for LAN, just the focus they have here in person that they don't always have when they're sitting in their comfy chairs at home. They bring it here, and as much as Fnatic have brought it, we saw this before. This is like a repeat to me when Fnatic beat EG with Dizzle playing on the team because Magda wasn't there. It was like, oh my god, where's this Fnatic been? And then G2 were like, easy mode, click, done. And I don't think it's going to be that easy again, but I do think we could see a repeat of that, because G2 are not to be messed with, and they don't show everything much, and Fnatic have had to show quite a bit to get to this point.
So it's about time. Let's jump into one of the most anticipated matches of the day between a historic G2 roster and also Fnatic. But Kix and Parker, take it away.
And also
a historic G2 roster, also Fnatic.
Don't forget about them.
They're going to be here. We think they'll be in the G2 historic roster. Excellent toss there. Thank you so much. Now, there's a lot on the line for these teams. G2 gets the invite. Pengu called it a pity invite.
Yeah.
Here they are, and well, they've managed to last longer than a lot of other teams, half of the competition, and they came out undefeated in their group.
Now, it is my opinion that getting out of groups does justify the invite. For me, that's all right. It's done. They made exactly as much work and they provided as much as they needed to justify it. I'm happy with that, content now. But let's see how far they can go. Really, that's the conversation. A lot of people, Devin stated it earlier, a lot of people were wondering, now, is G2 going to be able to put up the LAN performance that we've seen from them so many times in the past? Because they really do well at majors. They do well at finals. It's just something that G2 is proficient at, regardless of what their roster is. And now with basically a fill-in, they're looking really solid through those groups, and they could do well against Fnatic. We could see them push forward here. We'll find out as we load into map number 1. It's Kafe. This is Fnatic's map pick, as you might have seen earlier in that ban phase. And G2 will start on defense.
Somebody needs to take the hat off of Kanto. Could you just Photoshop that out? Like,
they've got to have a picture without the hat, right?
Please get rid of the baseball hat.
I don't think it doesn't look that bad. Come on, you know.
I mean, it's for athletic purposes. It's, you know.
Exactly.
Anyway.
He needs to see no sunlight in his eyes when he's gaming.
Kafe as a map has been played by both teams, and very similar to map 1 of the matchup we just saw between Ninjas in Pajamas and TSM, was the fact that both of these teams haven't lost on Kafe. Now, Magnet liked to talk about at the end of the matchup against Empire, their very first match at the start of the group stages, that they deliberately threw bank to lose to Empire so that they could hide Kafe, which was the tiebreaker. They then end up defeating FaZe 7-3, and then on the rematch against Empire, Kafe is the very first map, and they win 7-3 against Empire, which was instrumental in being able to take the entire series. G2's record on Kafe is a 7-4 scoreline against BDS. That's the only time that they've played it, and it was what they needed to knock BDS out of finishing first and obviously get the victory. So both of these teams come in with a perfect record. It is Fnatic's map choice, and, well, I think things for Fnatic, they're going to have to get pretty stupid, if we can use that word. And when I say pretty stupid, I mean Fnatic loves to play this really rough, run-and-gun, unexpected style of play. And when they do that, they can really get under the skin of their opponents and just simply use their own abilities to do well. And, well, speaking of, a Fuse. Giving G2 a taste of their own medicine, a Fuse was picked by G2 alongside a Glaz, a Tachanka, and I believe a Capkin. I think every single Russian operator actually came out in that matchup against BDS by G2. Fnatic are going to see if a taste of your own medicine is indeed not an ideal thing to have.
So quick things to say about Fuse. First of all, he's a really good operator in some specific situations. Situations like, for example, you're attacking on the kitchen and you happen to have top floor control. Well, Fuse can actually aid you quite a lot in that endeavor. He'll do things like clear out electronics, evil eyes, and the like, and even he can, yes, kill players with his ability. Oh, wow. Amazing. He's also going to be bringing those breaching charges. The AK-12, which is Fuse's primary weapon, is one of the best assault rifles in the game. Has an exceptionally high DPS. I find that, honestly, I think the reason people don't play him very much is because he's not a very versatile operator. You're so rigid. I mean, what are you contributing? You're going to contribute that cluster charge on some places, some situations, again, as I stressed earlier. So I'm not against this pick. The big thing is that it is a kitchen defense here for G2. So first of all, right off the bat, Fnatic with a really good read, because you know where Fuse wouldn't be very helpful? Top floor.
Yeah. Maybe the windows.
Maybe. C4 misses there from G2, but yeah, no, so good read from Fnatic, expecting the kitchen first and bringing the Fuse accordingly.
Yes. As long as we don't see Magnet get killed. No, there he goes! The Fuse with one of the best weapons in the entire game in his hands. Say goodbye to Uno Meister, opening pick for Fnatic. There's Kanto Raketti answered back, channeling the powers of that G2 baseball hat. Down goes Mentalist. Mentalist had a very slow start against Empire, and Fnatic needed him to pick up the pace. He had a slow start on Kafe as well. If he can settle in early, then they might see some more positives than what was able to be added from Mentalist onto this roster in that matchup against Empire.
No, just a little bit of stalemate after that. Nice and even. Big thing is G2's lost a lot of information gathering. On the other hand, Fnatic have lost their Thatcher, which is, of course, going to be so powerful in clearing out electronics. Shabazz is going to late reinforce Bakery. That's smart. You late reinforce Bakery when a Thatcher is dead, and, well, it's not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to deny the hard destruction if it exists, but, and it does in this case, but because you don't have a bandit, you don't have a mute, you don't have a Kaid.
There's no denial.
But there's still, you know, you could slow down the take from the attack, that's for sure. And you don't need to hold the kitchen, or rather the Bakery anymore. Here come the cluster charges, so weird to say that, but they are going into the bomb site, and some nothing done, really. I don't think we even saw any electronics got by that one. No one relocated, though it would have done significant damage if someone had been playing by the prep window. So that's a good position there for Fnatic. He clearly knows where those are going to land.
So the slow, faster start goes into a slow to later portion of this mid-round, with only Kanto Raketti being hurt from G2. And then he gets finished off by Magnet. So 2 kills for the AK-12, the Fuse proving his worth. Pengu with the last stand by this ADS and deployable shield. He's over towards what is referred to as VIP. Very final cluster charge is now going to go off. And there's just things sailing around. Pengu pops up, down goes Tex, and it's back to a 3v3 with Pengu still unremoved from this spot. Enough early pick for Sir Boss onto Lusty, as now Virtue and Magnet with very limited HP will have to just head on in. A down from Pengu, still, he persists. He has not been shaken and will not be shaken as Sir Boss picks up his second kill. A very smart performance from G2 to evacuate the site and then clamp back down on Fnatic when they pushed in, and the first round will go to G2.
Just about the easiest hold there for Pengu and the rest of G2 when it comes to the drop into Freezer. The extent of the strategy for Fnatic there was, oh hey, we'll use clusters above, and then let's drop Freezer. That was the yeah. No, I mean, they cleared out the top floor. Great. Good job, Fnatic. They even picked up a kill along the way. 10 out of 10. And then once they had that top floor, that middle floor control, they clustered above and then they dropped to their deaths. They didn't clear out VIP, which ended up being the most crucial failure in Fnatic's strategy because Pengu was playing in VIP and he did so much damage. He constantly made Fnatic look at their flank as they were dropping in Freezer. And he ultimately was the thorn in the side that cost Fnatic the round. It's likely that Fnatic will not make that mistake a second time. But they won't have a chance for another couple rounds. G2 going to the top floor here. So it's straight from the bottom to the top for G2 after winning the first round. No Fuse being brought on this top floor hold. You could see that the Fuse is being specifically picked for that kitchen defense.
I was hoping we'd see more out of the Fuse. It's always nice to see like those unconventional picks just appear.
Yeah. I mean, he did force some of the players on G2 to move a little bit. That's about it.
I mean, I think the bigger issue was that a surprise Fuse would have been better, but his pick onto Uno right at the start kind of gave it away. And then G2 knows there's a Fuse on the board, and now you can play around it very differently. So
didn't they not? Didn't they six? I could have sworn
it was a 6 pick onto the Fuse.
Oh, but then he killed someone.
Then Magnet killed Uno right at the start of the round, over by the reading door. So that's what gave it away. So
maybe if it were, yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I mean, you're gonna take the pick, right? It's on Fnatic, I guess, for putting the Fuse in a position to cut off the rotation, because that was his job there on that east balcony door. Maybe some different positioning. Who knows? Whatever the case be, round done. G2, despite losing that early pick, do take the round. No reinforcement on the piano wall. Top floor hold.
Very, very odd.
Yeah, I mean, usually you're going to want to slow down that push as much as possible, but G2 just leaving it open. Obviously, the aggression from these defenders is going to be part of that. Pengu will get Tex with the C4 from the shield. The Guzman triggered from the Ela is going to call out that C4, so that's good coordination from G2. A really simple trick that you could set up pretty easily, and it gives G2 a man advantage.
I think Pengu's spent the entirety of this match playing behind a deployable shield and just sitting, waiting for somebody to provoke a fight with him, and nobody has done so successfully yet.
Yeah. I really like what he was doing there with the C4 too. I mean, what do you do when you get hit by a Guzman at the top of red? You go down the stairs, right?
Right.
Try to get a little bit safe, and then that's where the C4 lands. Now, there are still more players at the top of red here. It's Magnet, I believe, and we don't have a full setup when it comes to the execution for Fnatic. It seems like they're still wary of the players in Cigar. Weird challenge there. Pengu wins it. Magnet holding the angle, disadvantage on the peak.
It was a hell of a play from Pengu, who's already showing his worth as being one of the most consistent LAN performers, and he takes down both Tex and Magnet, who have been extraordinarily good for Fnatic this entire tournament.
I think for like full career, we could say just outright Pengu's the most consistent.
Possibly. Virtue gets one, but it's Kanto and Uno, the double fin trouble. Claymore from Magnet will catch Uno as it was turned around the other way. Mentalist takes out Kanto Raketti, but he is very much in danger of these being impactless frags. 40 seconds for him to retrieve the diffuser, which was abandoned after you saw Lusty get taken out by the play on the windows leading into Piano. Now Mentalist will head likely back up red stairs and will have to deal with the 2 members from G2 who can sit and wait. They have plenty of time, 25 seconds. And because there is a Maestro on the board, there might be Evil Eye cams here to just watch exactly what's happening. Mentalist heading on in. He'll flash Fabian, but there he goes. The Swede pops around the corner. 2 rounds in a row now for G2.
I'm not sure what he was thinking with that EMP. Maybe Legion traps or something he was wary of. Whatever the case.
He might not have thought somebody was in there. He might have thought somebody was playing Lumber.
Well, it's possible. It did end up going the way of G2 quite soundly, I would say. Oh, a solid hold over by Cigar, specifically by Pengu, reading the next bomb site here. Pengu's always, you know what's really interesting about Pengu also is he's always been one of the players that excels at using the SMG-11. And one thing that I thought was really funny is that he actually used the SMG-11 consistently through some of its rougher patches. It hasn't always been the best gun in the game. There's been some spots where the recoil is so extreme that it's kind of harder to control. And some players will shy away from that SMG-11. Pengu consistently uses it to great effect and has been doing that, again, through his whole career. So I thought that's something a little bit funny about him. And impressive. Now, 2 deployable shields being brought by the defense. We'll see where those end up going. Probably going to aid the top floor hold, as this is a reading defense. Typically on reading, what you're going to do is you're going to roam upstairs for at least half of the round. If you can get half of the round wasted on the top floor, then you're sitting pretty. Looks like one's going by Pixel in the reversed fashion that we actually see more frequently used over by Pixel. I actually haven't investigated the exact reasoning, but I imagine the angles you can see are better with the shield reverse placed. It is a 2-way glass bulletproof sort of deal on those shields, so you don't really need to worry about which way it's placed.
There's got to be a reason for this, because we've seen a couple teams do it now, right?
Yeah, it's consistently coming out like that. Maybe it's for the ADSs to catch the projectiles even better, because the angle for the ADS is going to be better since it's inverted instead of out.
I mean, maybe it's just because they're all such great friends, they turn the shields around to let them know that it's not a Goyo shield. I mean, have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, that's, you know what, you're right, Parker. I didn't think about that.
Maybe it's because of the power of friendship.
I mean, these players all know each other fairly well, and I don't think there's any bad blood here. I'm sure a lot of them are probably friends too, just in general.
Fnatic really wanted this rematch. They said as much many times. I mean, there are a lot of teams that really want to play G2. There's something to be said about, you know, slaying the giant. And even though they are a shadow of themselves at previous invitationals, I don't think you can doubt how strong G2 has looked and the symbolic victory that comes alongside the actual victory over defeating G2. Keep in mind that as long as G2 has played at the invitational, I mean, they've never been defeated. So, you want to be the first team to take down G2, right?
Everybody, I would assume, wants to be the. I mean, you want to be the ones to set the trends and to topple the giants. Virtue up by the big bar, pressuring into Cocktail. Half the round has been wasted, so the roamers are somewhat successful. If they get away with their lives, even more so. If they get kills, well, doubly so. There's one retreating, leaving Sir Boss the last alive in Cocktail. See if he can hold out. He's going to get hit by the Zofia lifeline, but wins the fight to Virtue regardless. An ill-advised peek there from Boss, but he did manage to get one shaved away from the enemy, so job done. Cantor Katie by the white stairs. We'll get Mentalist as well. So that top 4 roam for G2 working out quite well.
Fabian is assisting just about everybody with holding down and being able to lock down essentially one gigantic portion of this map with that cardiac sensor. And right now, he's not in any imminent danger. So because of this, he doesn't have to sweat it and can play very confidently and continue to have that information on hand for the rest of G2. So while he might not be directly in the fight, the 3 members of G2 can capitalize off of that. They'll head up towards the top of red stairs, though. Tech's pistol out, sidearm removes Pengu from action. It's back to a 3v3. We see this all the time. Down goes Lusty. That's Diffuser surrendered at the top of red. Fabian puts the cardiac sensor away, and he begins to slay himself. UMP just waiting, but Fnatic will have to go for frags. They know this. Mark's coming in, a push through the doorway, caught in the back by Kanto, not able to defeat Magnet, but he knows that the Diffuser's down above. You can't really do much in that situation. This is Fnatic's map, but man, G2 are right now in absolute control.
Yeah, that's 3 in a row for G2, and they are looking solid. Last time I said G2 were looking unstoppable. They suddenly started losing. So, kitchen service next defense for G2. Why do we have 2 kitchens, by the way, in this bomb site? It's always confused me.
Kitchens are large, Mike.
Yeah, but both of them are just called kitchen. And then like I've talked to a lot of teams. There's like totally separate callouts that have nothing to do with that for the majority of this bomb site. Actually, it's a weirdly structured callout in terms of this bomb site.
Attackers need to locate and
But anyway, we're going to the bottom 4.
they can.
G2 on defensive Kafe, to be fair. So they're gonna rack up some rounds here, but Fnatic haven't been showing us the best Fnatic, if that makes sense. Not what we were seeing 2 days ago. In terms of their actual ability to double down on each other, refrag, stay on top of the ball, constantly be chasing the win. It seems like Fnatic are having a lot of stall outs on the attack. Maybe they'll lose a player early on, and then pause. We got a drone, be careful, be very thorough, and then uh-oh, suddenly G2 are aggressive again, and another pick goes G2's way because you're not paying enough attention holding those default angles.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
It's not the end of the world. These rounds have been somewhat close, I guess, but most of this has been G2, G2, G2. I'm wondering if that's going to change. Fnatic definitely need to get at least 2 rounds out of this first half to be sitting comfortable. If they can manage 2 rounds, then all right, second half should go well. But Cantor is going to start off this round with the initial pick. Peeking out of a window, and he will just get rid of Lusty. The hard destructor gone. Fnatic on kitchen attack. We're going to have to play really just odd. I don't know how else to put that. They're going to have to play in a weird way because usually you rely on hard destruction on the bomb site.
Are Fnatic playing scared? Is that
Yes,
what you'd see?
absolutely.
And that is definitely my assessment as well, as the same confidence, the same swagger that we saw from Fnatic against Empire. That fearlessness is very much absent, and G2 are preying upon it at the moment. There's been no real fight back. Frag grenade will miss on to Sir Boss as a minute has been eclipsed in this round. Soul Hard Breacher down, Diffuser also surrendered when Lusty dies, so Fnatic obviously had to make some adjustments here. They'll manage to get a counterpunch onto Fabian. Down goes the greatest player in the world, and so does Uno. So Fnatic find 2. 2 very important kills as well to give themselves a lead in terms of man count. Being a kitchen defense, however, without any hard breach, the job of Fnatic is still very difficult, and an advantage that they have in terms of numbers could very quickly disappear if you get 1 or 2 picks from G2 as Fnatic funneling through very narrow corridors. There's lots of crossfire potential for G2. It's a bakery take with Kanto Raketti playing off-site just by Bar. He pops up. He might be able to get a very easy kill, and indeed he does. He slams Magnet into the mat, and then with that carbine, he'll go for a much longer spray onto Mentalist down by bakery window. This is a rough spot to be in, but that's a shot from Tex and a half. Kanto Raketti pops on up. He finishes what he started with Mentalist. It's going to be all on the little Finn's shoulders as Sir Boss has been downed. Virtue finishes him off with that lifeline. Marks come in as well for Kanto, but he's going to have to move, and well, he's got a barricade to go through.
Well, it'll have to be an ace for Kanto Raketti, but that actually might be possible as Virtue is on 1 HP. Kanto eats a single bullet through the wall. These last 2 attackers are being spotted, so that's big. Kanto Raketti has a significant advantage in that, but look at that. Fnatic's on info 2. Virtue will land the shot through the wall, and Fnatic take their very first round.
That was still so close, and well, that spray from Virtue was perfect, and obviously a read that I would guess was aided by a drone, but if not, that's a very common spot
Either
to
way.
sit in. And the other thing too is that while there are no points, when you shoot somebody through a wall, it makes a very distinct sound, that splat noise of a bullet hitting you. So you can tell when somebody is on the other side of it. So.
Kind of like a something like that. Yeah. And then if you hit them,
what do you think? What does everybody else think it sounds like? Do your best onomatopoeia here and tell us exactly how you would type out the noise that it makes when somebody gets shot with a bullet. There you go.
I bet the chat is going to look real interesting right about
Yeah, but it
now.
gives the mods a break, so.
Bar Cocktail for G2, and we'll see how they hold on the top 4 for the second time.
Attackers need to
Last time was really well, or went really well for G2. I gotta be honest with you, that kitchen defense, it looked like G2 were gonna be able to win it out after they picked off the Heart Destructor, but then the bakery hold was not fantastic for G2. Biggest thing is that Kanter Raketi rotated over to the main lobby. He did get rid of one of the flankers, but he was also a gun that was not available for G2 in the actual bakery hold. And I think maybe G2 would have been aided better by his being there. But, you know, it is what it is.
10 seconds left.
I actually also think that, honestly, in that 1v2, I think a Kanter Raketi would have probably clutched it if he hadn't gotten shot through the wall. I think, it's not to say I had high hopes for him, but it's more like, I don't know, he wins those. Virtue is on low HP too. But, you know, you can't rely on those clutches. Now we're going to go to top 4, like I said. We got a mute being brought by No Mozzie. So the combo is not there for G2.
G2 are a team that don't really play Mozzie as much as a lot of their counterparts.
Yeah, I mean...
They managed to completely work around it.
So a big part of why I think that is the case is because of how extended they always are on defense. It's like, why are you going to bring Mozzie if you're going to be controlling the majority of your floor or sometimes even your map, and you can just shoot the drones? Like, you don't need it. Yeah, okay, you're not denying info anymore, I guess. What is this? Real quick, Fabian's going to get Tex. Virtue tries for refrag, but he's not going to get it. Fabian gets away. And he's going to continue to contest, actually, from Christmas. This is a very dangerous fight here for Fabian, but he already won a single one. So here come the impacts to do some damage. Lifeline to disorient. Virtue eats about 5 damage, maybe, from that impact. Oh, he's not really sweating. Second lifeline goes in, and no challenge from Fnatic after lifelines detonate, so effectively not really that useful. You can see Pengu's trying to prep the barricade between Piano and Cigar to assist Fabian. He's finally dead. It only took half the round and a player, but Fabian has been eliminated. The castle, such a relevant active operator. Not really. No, he has already placed his castle barricades. He got a kill. He wasted some time. Fabian had a really good round just now. Fnatic are going to have to work up a hill now as they find themselves significantly at disadvantage, not only in terms of man count, or rather HP overall, I guess I should say. So the man count is the same, but more in terms of time and positioning.
Frag Grenade goes down and does not connect, and Fnatic, once again, are just in trouble. That early pick from Fabian was absolutely huge, especially to cool off somebody like Tex. If you can get into the heads of Tex or Virtue, or even Magnet, all three of whom have been able to stand up to tremendously good fraggers on a variety of different teams, silencing, you know, Joystick and Dan and Karzeka on Empire. Similar things to Mav and Ion and Cameraman on FaZe. If you can get into the heads of these players and break their spirit, then you have a significant upper hand against the rest of this team, and especially for the rest of this matchup. The take that is going to come out, though, as we now turn towards the final 30 seconds of this round, will be over in Cigar, and, well, that Heart Destruction will actually be present this time. X-Kairos will destroy the wall just above Pengu as he lies prone. Sir Boss peeks, and that'll be an easy kill for the Type 89. Sir Boss has really been improving as this tournament comes to life. Play going down from Lusty, good coverage from Fnatic. Pengu falls, so too does Sir Boss. Kanter Raketi gets one, but Diffuser will go down, and it's Uno Meister against the world. Being camped in the corner with Lusty sitting on top of it. Both Mentalist and Lusty are very low on HP, but Uno's going to be making a lot of noise. He downs Mentalist, wasn't that much there. Both of them seemingly caught off guard. High, that Skylight is going to be impossible for Uno to be able to do anything against, though we've seen players be able to make that shot. Diffuser hits the halfway mark, and Uno treads water. Not sure where the last player is of Fnatic that isn't at the Skylight. There's Lusty coming in with a couple shots, and it's Magnet's turn, as that Fnatic lineup was a game of whack-a-mole for Uno, and he loses it. It's the second in a round for Fnatic, though, and this time they looked a little bit stronger than the last.
Big W there for Fnatic. The main thing is that wins like that are going to build their confidence and keep their momentum going, because I'll be honest, those first few rounds for Fnatic, they did not look very strong, and they're starting to pick it up. That's very important. Especially after Fabian managed to get that pick over by Piano. You'd expect G2 to be able to lock that out, but not so. Fnatic consolidate their forces in Cigar, push in unison. The team fight goes soundly in Fnatic's favor. There's a lot of different things that actually contributed to that. One of the things that I find most notable is actually the way that Sir Boss pushed up by the bar. he is your cocktail player. So a big part of his job is to apply pressure to the main bar and deny a push in through Cigar straight into main bar. But because Sir Boss was pushing instead of holding at the long angle, he wasn't able to inflict as much pressure on that main bar as he would have otherwise. So it's not the best decision there from your Maestro if you're G2. To be fair to Sir Boss, and I think this is also really important, the way that Fnatic pushed that, they didn't leave much of a window to get picked off as they pushed in. Not much of a window, but it was there. You'd expect it to be capitalized upon, but not so. So some kind of pause coming out here. I think it's a technical pause, yeah. So it's a technical pause. Don't know what the issue is, but we do know there is one, so we're going to wait until it has been resolved.
We're told that there's going to be a video now from G2, so get to know them a little bit better. You probably know them quite well, but we'll toss to that as this hopefully gets sorted out.
I first started playing Rainbow Six Siege as soon as the game came out, right at launch, and I've been playing ever since then. What hooked me on playing Rainbow Six Siege was just that every single day you would learn something new, and there was just such a depth to an FPS. It was just like no other FPS out there. There's like new angles to learn, new verticality to learn, new spots to sit, and just new nade spots that you can find. The first time I tried to sort of go pro was when I joined Mindfreak with, as you all know, Diz at the time. And basically we were then traveling to Invitational, the biggest event of the year. And that's when I knew that I was sort of going into that pro area and I wanted to do this professionally. So before going pro in Siege, I was studying at university. I was doing clinical exercise physiology. I was in my third year of that, and also as a way to earn money, I was also coaching gymnastics at the time. So I think if I didn't go pro in Siege, I'd be a clinical exercise physiologist, and doing that full time as coaching gymnastics was more just a part-time thing. So it's quite the different career path. What motivates me is to be the best. It's quite simple. I really hate losing, and we have not won any majors or Pro League finals yet, and that is the #1 thing to do. I definitely consider Siege my full-time career. This is what I do when I wake up. This is what I do. What I think about before I go to bed, I don't know. It's definitely my full-time career. I don't have anything else going on at the moment. And if it isn't full-time, I probably wouldn't be here now as well. Setting victory aside, I think the big goal for myself in Siege Esports is to be remembered as someone who created and led APAC to victory, along with Dizzle, of course. It's been a big dream of mine to obviously win a tournament, but apart from winning, you got to do something, you got to make a big indent in the scene, should I say. So I think trying to lead APAC to its victory, making the scene more professional, making the scene more competitive is something I really want to accomplish.
Well, that wasn't G2. That was actually...
You sure?
That was actually Magnet.
Are you positive?
Well, I mean, it's not what I was told, but that's fine.
Yeah, wrong information. But that is okie dokie, because it was a really interesting video.
Yeah. Magnet obviously gives good perspective, and that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the Six Invitational so far is the amount of depth that is being done to give a perspective on players that we don't often see.
Attackers need to locate
For so
and
long,
defuse
Rainbow
bombs.
Six has been dominated by the same characters at the top that we've heard their story 1,000 times. So being able to hear from people that you don't usually get to hear from, even simple things like before a matchup starts, it's almost always a new player giving you a rundown of what happened in the day before. It allows people to really take an investment in the players that are shown off. So in that particular case, I think Magna is a very interesting story to tell. I think all of Fnatic does, and I think all of the major competitors in APAC do. The adversity that occurs just simply because of where they're playing, geographically isolated, and one of the newest, if not the newest region to Siege. I guess technically it is the newest region to Siege, actually.
I mean...
Well, I was going to say one of the newest because technically, like, ANZ was supported back in year 1 on console.
I'm not going to dispute it, like, you're not wrong, right?
So,
but Yeah, no, sure.
Yes.
Hey, there's a Blackbeard.
Yes, but anyway, all of those things kind of go into the fact that it's nice to see people be able to tell their stories, and there will be, I'm sure, more videos to come, or at least from my perspective, hopefully, because I enjoy watching them. And yes, a Blackbeard, who, did he even have a single pick prior to today's
This is
matchup?
the first that I've seen, but it might be in some match that we didn't cast, so it's possible. I have not seen a Blackbeard yet, though. Magnet wants to win gunfights.
Blackbeard is a very good operator to do that, but Fnatic obviously have some significant strategies they've been waiting to show, so the question will be, does it work out? Well, it was a slow start for them, but then Fnatic has taken 2 rounds on attack. Keep in mind, on a Kafe defense, you want to win 4 of those rounds, so you're right about where you want to be if you're a Fnatic.
This is actually one of few rotations we've seen in terms of operators. Cantor Kitty will get Tex, who has been dying early quite a lot, actually. The second time being third time being the initial kill for G2. That's probably a big reason as to why Fnatic find themselves back in round count right now, as Tex is one of the players that you typically see perform quite a lot. No real control being established here for Fnatic other than top of red stairs.
There goes the Valkyrie camera that had been set out before. As you noted, a very common spot to go in, so... This upside-down rappel for Magnet is tough to play on. It's very disorienting, obviously. These players are accustomed to it. But right now, it definitely seems like Fnatic's biggest issue is lack of intel.
Yeah.
Virtue is holding an angle against an operator that doesn't exist.
So there's definitely a distinct lack of information gathering going on here for Fnatic. Something's going on with their drone economy. What exactly, we can't be sure. But what we do know is that this is way too slow. We're down to the last 50 seconds, and the top 4 still hasn't been cleared. Fnatic's going to have to get really lucky on the actual team fight when it comes to the site take in order to win this. Magnet will pick off Sir Boss, though, so that's some salvage right there. Pengu holding an angle through the breach that Fnatic made, killing Virtue.
Pengu has been doing a very strong job of holding the same angle and not letting anybody be able to take it away from him. So with 27 seconds left, just 1/6 that round remaining, final push, everybody from G2 appears to abandon ship. They'll head downstairs and look for some comfort in the bomb sites, of which are A and B, not A. In goes Magnet, he'll soldier on, slaps the window, but behind him, he'll have to be very careful as Kanto's there. Takes out Lusty, Magnet goes down to Fabian and Uno. After Kanto falls in front of him, we'll give G2 their 4th round of the 6. About as good as you want it to be on a defense on Kafe.
Solid amount of redundancy there for G2 as they had not only guns trained on where the push was coming from, but also C4s ready, flanks coming in. Pretty much everything was accounted for G2, so props to them for that. Though the main story is how slow Fnatic were on the top clear, how poor Fnatic's information gathering was, and how many players were lost, actually, in clearing out the roamers upstairs for Fnatic. So, moving into the second half, Fnatic are not going to have to worry about droning for each other anymore. And that's, I guess, a little bit off of their shoulders. We'll go to reading Fireplace for the first bomb site. See if that works out well for them.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they
Right now, operator selection, we are seeing Mute Mozzie being brought out, so there's a lot of anti-information gathering for Fnatic. They want G2 to suffer. The really curious thing is that Fnatic struggled to drone when there was not much Mute being played. I mean, it did get played twice in that first half. And then there was only, same thing with Mozzie, actually, twice, but neither of them in the same round. And curiously, for some of those rounds,
10 seconds to
neither. So, yeah, weird
5 seconds remaining.
weird anti-info play from G2, but still struggling to gather information is Fnatic.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Now Fnatic setting up the hard wall of that Mozzie and Mute. I know no Vigil being played so far for either team. And yet information has still been such a big part of this match. Curious to see how long Fnatic's going to try and hold the top floor. So there's differing mentalities. Some people try to hold it for 1 minute 30 and fall back dead on that 1 minute 30. Very predictable, but it's, you know, it's still an advantage. Some will hold it for the entire round until they die. and others will hold it for less. It's though rarely.
This has been very steady as she goes in terms of just a match perspective. There hasn't really been anything that remarkable that's happened between these two teams. Fnatic have had a couple rounds where they've tried something new, and well, it hasn't really paid off. And then there are times where G2 just does what most teams do on Kafe, which is bleed out time, deny information, and then hold really pesky angles. That's something that we will consistently praise Pengu for, and he's been mighty fine. Now, as the entry from G2 happens at the top of red stairs, there's a Mozzie down below laying with a C4, and there's very likely a needle to thread through the ground. That drone has fallen off of the map, it looked like. I don't know if that's actually the case here, but clearing the top floor, a lot of teams will do this. We saw it in the matchup that just happened. We see it on Kafe most of the time, unless teams are really, really heavy on that third floor. And there's no way for them to be able to get down to that second floor quickly. Then sometimes teams will just decide to go all in. G2 obviously not the case. Almost a minute has been passed, and very minimal work from G2 outside of realizing that they've cleared the top western part of the map. Cigar is theirs. Is there somebody in bathroom? They don't know. They are currently being stopped by these mute jammers. Obviously a source of frustration for G2 is they will need to figure out what to call for the next steps.
It's interesting that Uno's going to bring that Twitch early on. A slow take for G2, same as Fnatic. Nothing really coming of it so far. Breach into back bar storage, still one player upstairs, that's Tex on Maestro. Fnatic holding downstairs primarily. G2 need to push the pedal to the metal here if they want to have any chance of winning this round. Here's the push on white. Kanter Arceti gets control of top white. Tex has fallen back, that's it. Fnatic are now in the site, it's a 5-on-5, but make that a 4-on-5 as Uno opens things up onto Tex. A little bit of a back and forth here. Virtue contributing. A run up the stairs, ill-advised for Virtue, and Kanter Arceti will shut that down. He's going to have a great angle into reading now because of that, as well as on the flank of Laundry. There's another for Kanto, and Pengu contributes as well. It's just Magnet in the 1v3 as he eliminates Uno. Post-plant, though, nearly unwinnable. He's only got about 40 seconds left here to retake his own site, find 3 full HP G2 attackers. Not very likely as he retakes over towards red. Baits out some shots there to try and get the enemy distracted. There's no way he's going to hit this bottleneck and not get shot at. And he's gone. G2 take the round. A very slow clear of the top floor, but Fnatic fall apart on the site take.
Obviously happy about that one. It is pretty remarkable how G2 was able to turn that one around. They spent about 2 minutes thereabouts up top, accomplishing next to nothing other than control of the top floor, and then they just dropped, and there was very little drone work that was being done on that second floor. We could even see it, how few drones were being used because of those mute jammers. Now, the one thing that works in G2's favor was that after they were able to get control of Cigar and push through that, and they shot the mute jammers, you get those drones back. They do not stay permanently muted, and it's not like Mozzie who takes the drone away from you. So G2 was able to then pick it up and use those drones in a way that they could get intel down below. And then the one consistent story that we have seen is that G2's aim has been on point so far in this matchup. Not that Fnatic's has been bad, but G2 have definitely been excelling in hitting their shots.
They have done. It's been a pretty good match overall for G2. Serbas, of course, a little bit of struggling. Fabian, too. Fabian tends to perform best when his team is losing. Kanter Arceti is the top contributor here with Pengu not too far behind. That's solid. Lusty yet to find the scoreboard. It's rough. It happens, though. Lots of interesting performances overall. And you'll see that sort of kind of get jumbled up as things go on. Going to map number 2, and the people who are performing right now will perform a lot worse, and then somebody else on the team will step up. That's the same thing even on the half swap sometimes, where you have like somebody drop 14 kills first half, second half, they just fall asleep. You know, it's normal. That's how Siege goes sometimes.
Drop the bomb.
The way these angles are being played from the defense, they really want to get an advantage early on. Virtue's not going to get anything out of that spray onto Kanter Arceti, but he was hunting for it.
Yeah. Fnatic are not obviously hurting here for confidence. There was that technical timeout, but neither team have needed to stop and get each other under control. I was trying to figure out what you were doing over there. I do not ask questions when we cast as to what.
I fiddle sometimes.
Yes, that's okay. But anyway, I am a little disappointed in Fnatic's performance so far on Kafe, especially what we saw against Empire, and especially what we saw against FaZe.
Yeah.
G2 have counter-stratted Fnatic well, and even though Fnatic are bringing different tools, G2 seem very well prepared for it. Now, G2 obviously very recently added Fresh as an analyst to work alongside the duo that was on G2 originally, which was Sua and Shas. And by having about half as many analysts, or having double as many analysts as most teams, well, you are in a significant position to be able to predict what your opponent does and be very well prepared for it. Now, one thing Kanto Raketti likely wasn't prepared for was the play from the Jaeger in Pixel spot, aided by a Valkyrie camera in Christmas. Down goes Kanto. Down goes the Zofia, with it the disruption. And now Virtue's been spotted, ADS will be disabled, Frag Grenade gets tossed out, but it gets eaten by a follow-up, so well played by Fnatic. Virtue was exceptional at holding this angle against Empire just a couple days ago, and without his strong play in that exact position, it's unlikely that Kafe would have gone in favor of Fnatic, and with it, Empire's loss to Fnatic as well.
G2 have established control of Canada though, and they still got a minute. Lusty finds the scoreboard. He is, I'm sure, welcome for Fnatic. Mentalist not going to win that fight. That's disappointing to see. Lusty is going to get killed on a long angle, but there's a constant back and forth here. It's all just Serbas, though, in the 1v3. He knows there's one on white stairs. The rotation is there, but no one's going to get high as Virtue will shut him down. Fnatic take their first defensive round.
You shall not pass.
Says Virtue.
Doink. Dead.
And
I hate that I'm still like, I'm on the very small end of being sick, so like the upper registry in my voice is not really there, so I can't really...
I didn't know you were sick.
We literally talked about this.
Oh. Well, I know you were, I thought it was like just like allergies or something. You just had like a sore, scratchy throat.
Allergies in February in Montreal.
You know,
It must be all the hay fever.
You know, actually though, hang on, because for some, like...
Maybe even ragweed.
Everybody's got like a dry throat. There's a lot of coughing, but it's not colds.
Yeah, because it's dry here.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's super dry. It's crazy dry.
That round in particular, well played by Fnatic, and it was very similar to the round before that, wherein G2 had some real big issues being able to do anything with the positioning that were established of those new jammers and pests from Fnatic. And when Fnatic plays that kind of game, like most teams do on Kafe, it gives a considerable advantage to the defenders on an already defender-sided map, and you gotta pity Serbas because he's in a position where you're probably not gonna end up winning that. Now, Kanto Raketti and Magnet are the story of this matchup if you look across from one another, not just in terms of kills, but also what they've been bringing to the table. Kanto, I don't want to say he's been one-dimensional, because I think that sounds kind of rude, but Kanto Raketti has been doing his sole job extremely effectively. Magnet has been playing more of that backseat role, which is allowing him space, because he's not going to be the person that's involved in opening conflicts like Texas on attack, or like Virtue can be on defense. Instead, Magnet has the ability to make plays, and while, yeah, some of them can be impactless, like we saw in the very first defensive round for Fnatic, round number 7, Magnet overall, on both attack and defense, has been having not just a good match or map, but a good tournament. Magnet's had some issues disappearing before, and I don't know if it's just the role swaps or if his mental preparation is different, but there was very serious emotional issues with Fnatic at previous events, and they, for now, seem to have been sorted out. There's still a lot of road left in this game, and they could rear their heads yet again. But I just wanted to pay some, I guess, some praise to Magnet, pay some compliments to the way that he's been doing.
Yeah, been playing very well at this event for sure. G2 looking to clear out the top floor. Seems they've spotted one player by Cocktail, attempting to address that. Pengu on Cocktail balcony, in a good position to apply pressure to Cocktail, but C4 is gonna miss. That's one wasted for Fnatic. They have potentially 2 more. Not the end of the world. Looks like actually Fnatic's just gonna fall back. That's, you know what's really weird to me is that Pengu, all he did there is he just repelled in and existed, and now Fnatic are falling all the way back to site. I think the Maestro of Tex is still upstairs, but that might not actually be the right call in the end. The lack of lethal response from Fnatic right now is pretty detrimental to the overall hold. Still pressure being applied to the clear upstairs. You could see that there is a flank inside of Piano, and Tex is still in white hallway. Hitzer, Kitty, and Fabian entering into the site are going to get 2 kills, 1 for each. Magnet will get felled as well. It's just Virtue now as Tex is eliminated by Cocktail. He's got a retake against 4. That's not going to happen. G2 will take that round. Match point, or rather map point, in this first map.
When it rains, it really pours, and Fnatic got caught out in G2's issues with information gathering seemed to be non-existent in that round. Excellent job. I think this is the time where now you see the microphone down. A timeout from Fnatic has to be called. You are about to get bullied all over this matchup if you cannot solve these issues, because this is your map.
Yep.
And you are having some serious troubles. So, timeout from Dizzle being called. I'm always interested to know why teams take an opportunity this late into the matchup to do it, because, yeah, there's still 3 rounds left. This is Kafe. You can still emerge 4-2 and push overtime, but right now, on defense, Fnatic have only had 1 good round. The other 2 rounds were stomps, if I can say that. They were not particularly close, and G2 made them look like chumps on what should have been pretty decent setups from Fnatic. This isn't even just necessarily G2 playing well, because G2 are. But at the same time, I think more than anything, it's Fnatic underperforming, and they might be, as much as they wanted to play G2, just letting pressure get to their head. And when I say pressure, I don't mean emotional. I just mean that they realize that this is a huge game. Now, there is a loser's bracket, so they don't go home, just as BDS isn't going home and just as Ninjas in Pajamas aren't going home. Neither will Fnatic or G2, should G2 end up losing this, because there's still 2 more maps to go. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's not the end of the road for this team. So while there is obviously no shortage of pressure on these players, they know that they have another shot. With the match on the line, Fnatic will go to Reading Room Fireplace on that main floor for the 3rd time. They really like something about this site. They do not want to go to Kitchen. They can't go back to Cocktail unless they win here. So the real question becomes, does Fnatic not feel confident in another site?
You know, here's the thing, Parker. If Fnatic win here, let's just say they do, right? Then, on the next round, top floor will unlock, and Fnatic will get to go to the top floor once again. Congratulations are in order. Oh, clap, clap, clap. However, then they have to go to somewhere other than top floor and reading. So, I mean, Fnatic are not getting away from the inevitable here. It's match point. They have to win 3 rounds. Reading, sure. Top floor, yeah. But then you're going to go to Kitchen. Or mining, maybe, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what Fnatic decide if they actually get to that point. That is assuming that they win these next 2 rounds. Well, the 2 primary bomb sites for Fnatic will not be available in the final round of regulation if we get to it. Because that means Fnatic will have won them. Now, drop downs opened up. It's really, they're like party poppers or something like that.
I love how far that goes. You know,
Yeah, seriously.
It's just a shame that Kanto wasn't the one playing Sledge, because then you could say that it's some Kanto confetti.
Yeah.
When he smashes it and it goes on up, but no. Often considered to be one of the better shield players in the game, it's Monte coming out from G2, and it'll be Pengu, of course, holding that shield in his hands.
Pengu's that type of player that you can just put him on anything. And he's on a Monte right now.
I still think the most incredible statistic is, as we've obviously seen a lot of eye-opening stats, but I think one of the most incredible statistics here is that in the very first Six Invitational that they competed in, which was 2018, he played something like 17 operators.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really happen anymore. Not like this.
Yeah, Pengu is like I said, he's probably one of the most versatile players in existence, and Virtue's going to get Uno to lead things off, so there goes your IQ. Lots of gadgets will go unshot, I suppose. C4 being ripped there. Pressure applied to Montaigne, but it's actually going to go to Kanto Raketti. Nice one from Mentalist. He'll also get Pengu, so that's an undeploy there from Pengu not working out. Lusty has been downed, but he's going to be picked up. Thanks to the Goyo shield, delaying for an extended period. Tex will pick up Fabian, and now it's just Serbas at the top of red. He's gone. A flawless round for Fnatic. That was solid.
It's exactly what you want, too, and a big part of why Dizzle obviously called that. Now, while the timeout happens, your adversaries have a moment or two to also discuss amongst themselves, and that could have been why we saw the Monty come out to play. Well, I mean, it pushed in to deal with the hold that Fnatic usually displays in Pixel Spot up in Cocktail. Did not work, though. Got baited in, and then Fnatic just counter-pushed. It was almost like a push-pull strategy where, you know, G2 pushed, and then Fnatic decided to pull them right in, and, well, beat them one by one by one by one. And G2 did not have any ability for crossfires or trades. They were mostly playing isolated enough where Fnatic could get a pick and then roll from there and get another pick. And G2 watched as their numbers just steadily declined. After 3 cracks at it, though, I guess that's good enough to take reading. Cocktail opens itself back up, so Fnatic will go here. If they prove to be as successful as they were in round number 8, then they will need a brand new bomb site for the very final round. Kitchen, maybe? We'll see what Fnatic have cooking. Or could they possibly go to down to mining, which has not been played yet by either of these teams. Still an opportunity for G2 to put this one away. They will need to be better than they were last time around on this site. Fnatic have been capitalizing on the rounds where they have done well on the ability to stall out G2's push by taking that information, ripping it away from them. There is no Mozzie present, so it'll be the mute now for Mentalist that will be used to lock down narrow corridors. And this castle strategy that we've seen a wide number of teams use, where you essentially just cut off Piano / Christmas and hold it as long as you can, is going to come out yet again.
For me, I don't know about you, but for me, Christmas is like that one little place behind the bar and the Christmas tree.
Yep.
And then the rest of it's just piano, and then there's stage. And then, well, I guess, and then there's sofa, and then there's Pixel. There's a lot of calls in there. It's confusing for me. Anyway, the clear right now for G2 is going to be going top red, standard play. Made it to the roof quite efficiently. Everything going as you would expect for G2. Fnatic are pretty light presence on piano, but they've got a really heavy one in Cigar. Mentalist trying to hold it firm with a shotgun. You can see him up there, nice and close. He's all got an evil eye in here. Dangerous retreat, but he'll make it all the way back. All right, the call was came out there for Fnatic. I'm not really sure why. There's still almost half the round left.
Yeah.
They haven't wasted a whole lot of time. Bathroom still being held here from Fnatic, so they've only forfeited Cigar Piano. That's not the end of the world. Better, I guess, to get your players back safe. Whoever made that call might actually be the right one, as G2 is pretty slow on the uptake here.
Slow, slow, slow. And instead of deciding to go through Piano, it'll be Cigar to new balcony. A little bit of control assembled. And there go the mute jammers. Any drones that were in that position will now be freed. Evil Eye Cam also taken care of. A single EMP does all this work. And then Kanto Raketti can continue to go from there as there's a contribution. As Pengu's breaching charge blows up the castle barricade. Virtue moved from his spot in Pixel. He might get fragged as there's an EMP. But no follow-up. Fabian is nowhere to be found in regards to that frag grenade. It finally comes out. It takes down the shield. Virtue is far enough back. This is what I said, that almost push-pull where Virtue and the rest of Fnatic will let G2 push them, and then Fnatic will pull them in and pick them off. But G2 will have to go for a fight at some point. 40 seconds, not an abundance of time. Angle held looking over towards heaven. That's Pengu in that position. Still has an EMP. If there happens to be an Evil Eye Cam up, who knows, Fnatic might have that intel. There's also a Valkyrie on the board, so those Black Eye Cams could be very dangerous. Virtue has now completely fallen off of his spot on Pixel. He's going to be standing on Lumber, waiting for somebody to push him on up. Frag grenade will need to be timed perfectly. Magnet opening pick onto Uno. Fabian not able to get anything. A swing from Virtue, but everybody's trading. Pengu in particular, he's going to get 2 of his own. Lusty with 1. A draw drop as Pengu is in hot on the heels of the mute, losing the fight to Mentalist. Kanto Raketti above will need to retrieve the diffuser, and it looks like this round should be a good holdout as he gets downed. No time to withstand. Fnatic will push us to a 12th round in a very exciting and frantic end as G2 lets the clock get far too low.
Now, as I like to say, here's the tricky bit. Fnatic have yet to defend any bomb site apart from reading in top floor. Now, if that is because Fnatic does not like to defend kitchen, then it does not bode well for this round. It means that it is very likely that G2 will take this and we will go to map number 2. No overtime needed. If it means that Fnatic were trying to hide kitchen, which we know they have a tendency to do, they like to push things back to try and reserve them for when they're most necessary, then congratulations, I guess, to Fnatic. They'll get overtime. But I'm not sure. We'll have to find out as this plays out. And there's also potential for plenty of upset in whatever plan that has been established from either team. Never surprise contact with the enemy. Now, Montaigne being brought here from Pengu again did not work out well for G2 last time. I want to say it was Mentalist who got the kills, the Goyo on the top floor roam for Fnatic last time. So big plays there from Mentalist. Pengu accomplished nothing, but that is not to say he can't. And we don't know what's going to happen this round. It's entirely possible that he does. That Montaigne is always going to be one of those factors that you have to consider when, well, honestly, just when playing against it, it's such a force. It's an imposing force on the battlefield. You have to apply focus, shift utility, detonate Goyos when you wouldn't want to. Lots of different things, C4s and the like.
The thing that really needs to be said here as well, G2 is running this entire strategy, and on attack have been running almost all their strategy just around the Maverick. That's it. They have been foregoing the Hibana, they've been foregoing the Thermite. So I suspect that they just understand that they're going to be pushing into crossfires, and of course this is a site that lends very well to crossfires. You think about trying to get in a bakery, you think about when you try to go in through the big double doors over by the back of the bomb site. So G2 are obviously very aware of this. Now, you point out very well that Montaigne is an imposing force. It does not slow down, and if you protect Monty well enough, then he can be almost panic-inducing for the defenders. Pengu can do that on that roll, but there was no worry from Fnatic last time. The only flawless round that we've seen in this entire matchup was from Fnatic when they were able to, take out G2 when the Monty was on the board.
Yeah. So it's entirely possible we'll see a repeat of that, though we don't know. There's so many question marks here. What if the Montaigne is actually able to use his shield effectively this time around? We've never seen this bomb site from Fnatic. I mean, is G2 good at attacking on the kitchen? I mean, we don't know all of these answers because we haven't seen this yet. And it's such a weird time to be getting the answers right at the end of regulation, the final round. So close to overtime here for Fnatic. The vertical pressure is going to be significant from G2. I want to know where these anchors are going to reposition to. That's what I really want to know, because we've got all these holes being opened up above, and it looks like there's actually only 2 anchors. So yeah, Fnatic are well established to avoid the vertical pressure, as you can see. There's rotations for the anchor in A, and then the anchor in B is actually already going to leave. So they're aware of the pressure that there is from above, and they're avoiding it pretty masterfully. That's props to Fnatic. I wonder if G2 is going to be able to deal with this.
Sir Boss doing his job to get the hatch open into Freezer with that Swiss cheese walls we've seen so many times. Lusty assumes the usual position, but is he staring down the Monte? Because at least from our perspective, it looked like the Monte was in that general direction. Still, you've got the Ella distracted, and this is a pinch that's coming in. Can the Ella do anything with it? Uno 1 onto Magnet. This is still match point. Lusty knows he's in trouble. You let that Monty get too close, and you're dead meat. Kanto comes around. He might be able to pry in, and yes, there we go. He gets Lusty out of action, and G2 now with 2 opening picks, they can continue to go. You pointed it out very well. They have never gone onto the site Fnatic has, so for them, they will need to win it, and that's a big task, especially now that they trail. G2 will head in through the freezer as they've got coverage from a variety of different angles. 4 members of G2 in freezer, though. They spread out. Planter going down for Fabian. Virtue cut off by Pengu. Uno is there. Mentalist looking to see if he can do anything. He takes out the Montaigne. Great coverage. Tex comes to the rescue, but Pengu somehow with the down onto Virtue, and Fabian takes out Tex at the last minute. Diffuser down is all that matters. All Fabian needs to do is survive, and map 1, Fnatic, goes to their opponents, G2.
Really big loss there for Fnatic. Absolutely massive. That last round could have easily been overtime. No question in my mind. Some major misplays towards the end. Mentalist a little bit slow on the uptake, a little bit slow on that retake. He was in a position to salvage the round, and he just didn't go for it. The positioning of the Ella also inside of VIP. I mean, just so many layers to what happened there. And of course, you know, we do have people who are going to be unpacking that, and we'll let them do that. Thank you so much to the Analyst Desk.
What a map. G2 started off so strong on defense, but the moment things turned around and Fnatic had their chance at attack, the game got a little bit closer. And what were some things that you saw?
I mean, it was a lot of slow attacks all around. G2 struggled with time management, but I'd say Fnatic got the worst end of that a lot of the time. Those initial rounds, I think the ultimate example of that for me was Fabian on Castle playing a piano. He's waiting, they open his barricade and he goes, "Hello, boys," and just plays that window. Like I was joking with you, like he might as well have been playing the piano right in front of him. Just delayed for a minute and a half in the round. And yeah, that didn't work every round, but it's plays like that that really showed how slowing the game down really worked, especially for G2.
Yeah, Fabian definitely did a great job on Castle. He did that for Black History Month. I'm pretty sure he did a fantastic job, but it was just the fact that they were able to manage the time so well. But also, when they were on the flip end, when time wasn't in their favor, we saw 20 seconds left to go, 4v4, the sights on the second floor. G2 were still able to run in and make plays that led them to a W.
Yeah, and that even happened in the very last round there, 5 versus 3, and despite having the numbers advantage, G2 were definitely not in a favored position attacking Kitchen there, and yet they salvaged it with a 5 HP Montaigne from Pengu. So I really have been impressed by G2. Both of these teams really struggled with the information gathering, particularly on attack, but G2 managed to find alternate ways to get the information and find ways to make plays despite not having information.
You know what, I'm really happy that you brought that up. So Lusty was 0-6 round 7, okay? Lusty is a very important member of this team, and he was on Valkyrie. But once Lusty started to get more kills and started to utilize information more to help his team out, they were racking up a ton of wins. Map 2, what do you want to see differently with Fnatic?
I want to see much better drone work. I think that's the main thing for me, because the attacking side for Fnatic was really quite poor. We saw G2 win the opening engagement in all but one round, and a lot of that was hesitation from Tex. Now, you could pin it on his shoulders, but you could also say, why is Mentalist throwing a drone down and there's no mute jammers on Mozzie, but it's getting shot within 5 seconds of that drone, and it gets basically no information.
Yeah.
I want to see some more tightening of some of that drone work and less hesitation from Tex. I think it's going to take some time for him to really build his confidence and realize he's playing what is the most legendary team in Rainbow Six. He needs to start acting like he's ready to take them on.
So you've watched this team since the beginning. Has Tex ever played on this level before?
You mean this at this like scale of event?
Yes, but on this scale of an event.
Well, the only time that Tex has ever played on a stage, and we're not quite on a stage here, we're still in the studio, but the only time Tex has played on a stage was at the Melbourne Esports Open last year, and he wasn't even playing for Fnatic.
Okay.
So this is a huge step up. I think he's game for it, but he really needs to start acting like he's ready.
Well, we saw in the last round, Tex had that fantastic flank where he almost won the round for his team. G2 were way too strong. They pulled away. Tex, I want to see him warm up earlier for his squad. We saw he was a last blood victim about 4 to 5 times that map. Once, 3 rounds in a row, rounds 5, 6, and 7. Tex has the mechanical skill and gunplay to compete with these guys. I need to see it earlier, though.
I mean, that's the thing is Tex was doing a little worse than Sir Boss a good majority of the time, and that's really the flip of how it should be. And I think some of that comes down to, you were talking about intel gathering. G2 not only were doing better in intel gathering with ops, they were bringing pulse, they were bringing IQ, things like that, but it's also predictability. The reason those drones were getting shot on entry is because they know where those drones are coming from. The reason Tex is getting shot is because they know where Tex is coming from. G2 have the experience to know how people are playing Kafe, and on top floor, it gets very linear. You saw that with Fabian as the example I gave earlier. being able to hold down your areas because you know where they're coming from, you don't need all the Mozzie in the world. You just have enough mute to lock down where they could bring those drones through and shoot them. Obviously, it's going to be very different on map 2 because it's a different map, 2 floors versus 3. But at the same time, I think as you pointed out, there are huge improvements that could come out from both teams on Intel. Both teams, I think, were expecting Thatcher to be banned, and we're not adequately prepared for that because we saw Thatcher be brought once, I think. At most, maybe twice.
Yeah, well, that was from G2. Fnatic brought it every round, but they're the ones who usually ban it on this map, so it was really their decision to leave it in there.
They didn't bring them often.
They brought it every round, but it just didn't really seem to work for Fnatic. No. In G2's case, talking about the information gathering game, when they were playing their attacks, they brought so much utility to deal with everything Fnatic had. Every single time G2 were attacking, whether it was a castle barricade, an ADS, a deployable shield, a Valkyrie camera, a Maestro camera, there was enough utility, IQ, soft breaches, so much to dismantle the setup that Fnatic had, and we didn't quite see that on the reverse from Fnatic.
Yeah, so map number 1 is in the trash can for Fnatic, but heading into map number 2, I want to see the same Fnatic that we saw in group stages. I want them to come with that Mamba mentality, so to say. So going into Border, are you familiar with their history there?
Yeah, well, Border is actually regarded as one of Fnatic's strongest maps, at least in the ANZ region. It's the map that other teams ban against them most of the time. It's the most banned map against Fnatic in the ANZ Pro League. But despite that, Fnatic, this new roster with Tex and Mentalist, has not played Border yet. There are no VODs. Last time these guys played Border was at the APAC finals from last season when they got defeated by Aerowolf, which now Giants.
Everything's changed.
I know, and it's completely different roster now.
Yeah, so G2 going to Border. They can close this out 2-0, or do you still think that, this might go to map 3? Well, Dev Martin thought it was going to map 3. Do you think it's going to go to map 3?
I think there's definitely a strong possibility if G2 play kind of as sloppy as they were during some of that. We could see that possibly, especially with, as you said, being a strong map. But G2, I mean, this is an old map. This is an old team. Yeah. They know Border. Nothing's new here for them. It wasn't map buffed like Kafe was. They didn't have to adapt anything. And the meta's pretty well known. So the op bans, I think, are going to be a big influence on whether or not it plays the way they're expecting to. But with the heavy analyst team that they have on G2, I think they're going to be well prepared for whatever happens. But at the same time, we know there's some masterminds there on Fnatic as well. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I said it before, the historic G2 roster going against the underdogs from down under, Fnatic. We're going to send this off to Border, map number 2. Kickstar, Parker, take it away.
Thank you so very much, Melly, and thank you to Dev and Emzo as well. Border. Border. This is a map that has been referred to as a freak show map by both you, Michael, me, Intero, and everybody else that tends to cast this. It is a claustrophobic map. It is deceptively small. It looks large, but that's because a huge portion of it is just that lobby area where usually very little happens in terms of actual close quarters engagements, barring the odd rotate. And there isn't always a ton of vertical play available outside of course, grabbing control of that second floor. It tends to be quite linear, very similar to the way that we see Consulate played out. G2 started on defense on Kafe, and now they'll start on defense on Border 2. This Cinderella run that Fnatic has been going on will not stop here, because even if they do fall to G2, they've still got the lower bracket to cut through. But will they be able to land a sizable counterpunch to G2's Haymaker that was lobbed and connected on Fnatic in map number 1? That is the question. Your operator bans, as they now disappear from the screen, were Nomad, Buck on attack, and then on defense, the old standards of Mira and Echo.
Well, the cool thing is, like you said, Parker, even if Fnatic lose to G2, they're going to get to go to that loser bracket, and I'm sure they'll have a better time there, maybe. We'll see. I mean, of course, there's so many teams that are fighting to avoid elimination. So he's talking about how sometimes if you get those really good teams like Fnatic even at this event getting eliminated early, and then you lose out on some of the competition later on, then it can be pretty rough for the later end of the bracket. But because we have that double elimination, it's not the case. You're going to see really, truly the best rise to the top because everybody's getting a second chance. Well, that's I think it's the right amount of chances. Now, it is first round here, top floor, Armory for G2. They are bringing the Mute Mozzie combo. Oh! Thatcher in play though, so it's not the end of the world. You can counter the Mute Mozzie combo with just some EMPs, but of course it's going to eat up a lot of those. Fabian bringing the Bandito.
I did want to say one thing.
Oh, what's that?
I would like to talk about the utter disrespect of G2 banning Nomad, preventing Fnatic from showing off their pilot program skin. I think that is disgusting.
They definitely didn't ban Nomad for any other reason.
Of course not.
Yeah.
I am appalled. This is psychological warfare. Fnatic in shambles, watching Nomad get banned twice, knowing that they can't show off their skins. And then, of course, what other operator has a Fnatic skin? Echo. And who's G2's other ban?
Oh.
You see, I'm not just a caster. I'm also a genius. And this is obviously why Fnatic is losing, because G2 is totally in their head.
You definitely are, Parker.
Thank you, Michael.
So no pay-to-win skins here, apparently, for Fnatic. And they'll have to go with their default skin. Virtue rocking that right now, actually.
A lot of players do rock defaults.
Yeah, when you come to a LAN, yeah, because sometimes it's just, you know, you do have to re-equip all your skins. Uno going for the run out here, and he dies to a Claymore.
Did he not see it? Like it was clear as day.
Did not check for the Claymore.
It was clear as day.
And now he did.
Totally blind. Totally and utterly blind.
Gone.
Yep.
From this world.
Say goodbye. So Fnatic opening pick, and it doesn't even come from a gun.
Virtue. Control of E-stairs. He's got to be aware of that C4 right now. And I'm sure he is. That could come from Office right where he's setting up for the lifeline. There's the stun. And this is denying the bandit tricking. Triple wall gets opened up, and that's a big benefit to Fnatic. Not only the man advantage now, but also an entry into triple. Virtue looking for somebody to be playing in that location. Nobody spotted. Both of his lifelines used there on the stun, but he still got the impact, so he can dislodge someone at Fountain, for example, which has a soft wall. The cross there punished by Fabian, but only a single bullet lands. Some damage done, though. Fnatic gonna have 2 players at 75. That's not terrible. I mean, they're still gonna be able to win those gunfights in all likelihood. Very slow take here from Fnatic. They're trying to be careful.
It's been really puzzling, actually, how slow this has been. Tex finally credited with an actual kill regarding his gun. That's his second. It was his Claymore that got the first one. That run out from Kanto, or Uno rather, got punished. So still G2 have 3 members remaining. Virtue is anticipating somebody to head on over through the top of East. He's got control of the hatch as well, and now Fnatic can stick 2, make that now 3 members on flank watch. Fabian with the MP7 in hand finds Mentalist. He'll head on over towards where we see Virtue sitting, and Fabian will win that fight. C4 misses, Diffuser going down. Lusty will get away scot-free. Fabian misses most of his shots, and it's Kanto Raketti in a 1v3. Diffuser down, Lusty on low HP. Roni in hand, he'll have to reload because he's shot more than a single bullet, of course. That's the way the Roni works. He's got absolutely nothing here, and I think he realizes this.
Yeah, the round's over there. Fnatic will take that one. Nice execution there. Good work from Tex, especially, who was not the loudest player on map number 1. So we're going up early for Fnatic, and they're looking pretty strong on that attack, coming in through Office. A pretty standard execution, very slowly done, but it worked. It worked because they managed to get the pick early on to the run-out player from G2, Uno. Not a great run-out from him, and he just kind of stumbles into his death. Then the second kill is onto the Maestro of Serbas, who's playing inside of Archives, decides to try and rotate, ill-advised. At least 2 angles being held onto him. So pretty easy kill, again, for Fnatic. And at that point, they've got so much manpower that they really don't need to stress. They can start to just outweigh their enemy and, you know, outmuscle them in this side. And that's exactly what Fnatic did. Went for a plant. Done deal, really. Nice try from Bobby to try and bring it back, but it's not enough. Now G2 going to go to Tellers. No repeat of Armory. They want to keep on moving.
Interesting choice. This site has seen a rise in play as of late.
Oh yeah, a lot.
There are a lot of teams that have now started favoring this, especially over customs, and well, I think the strength comes in the way that you hold that second floor. You know, additionally, you've got a lot of more stall potential here on defense. We saw it on Kafe, the stall potential that Fnatic had just simply by playing 1 or 2 operators and not even necessarily doing much else. You just pre-place those mute jammers, pre-place those pests, and you let them by far and away do the work as long as there can be a threat looming of you being able to punish an attacker who tries to take out one of those jammers or take out one of those passes. Or even castle barricades, of course, making it even harder as so much utility is soaked through just by having those 3 operators, or even 2 operators on the board. You look at the G2 lineup, and well, there are 3 operators on there, Michael, that really attract quite a lot of attention here.
Yeah, it's going to be the Mozzie, the Mute, and the Castle, which is just the layers of defense that you have to get through, not only in terms of information, but in terms of utility. The Castle being absorbing utility, lifelines, Ash charges, whatever you have, breaching charges. Castle is a great operator for that. And on the other hand, the information that gets slowed down thanks to Cantor, Ketty, and Sir Boss on Mute and Mozzie. I mean, it's a pretty standard lineup there. We've seen that quite a lot, actually, recently, in terms of defensive operators. Especially on a site like Tethers, you really need to have layers to your defense because it's such a shallow bomb site. I mean, all bomb sites on the border are pretty shallow, but this one especially. Well, CCTV control, well established for Fnatic. They haven't done much with it just yet, and there is a light presence in CCTV. It looks like the collapse is going to be in Office, obviously. You need to take control of Office, and that's because you need vertical pressure onto the site, this one especially.
The squeeze, obviously, that's going to occur now as the layers are being cut through will be on the Fountain side of things. That C4 actually gets the exothermic charge, so very well played, and obviously it doesn't net a kill, but it's very worthwhile. The stun's still going out. The proximity explosion allows Fnatic to know that somebody is there. The Mozzie tucked in a corner could come out swinging. Roni in hand for Canto Ricchetti with 2 members of Fnatic within striking distance. Opening things up, Uno, as one will walk by, and Canto permits it. He allows the Thermite of Lusty to get out of there. Not exactly the obvious choice, but I think the right one right now. He's still sitting on a mute jammer, surveying the hole to see if somebody from Fnatic will come back, but no. For now, after opening that breach, Fnatic have repositioned. And they're now heading on over towards Office. Magnet taking a bunch of damage. Virtue does as well. Uno down from Tex. This is at Russian from Fnatic, actually, and nobody sees Tex as he just barrels on in through the window. Kanto will not have enough bullets. Great trigger discipline, but my, he misses the shots, Kanto. Fabian with 1. Kanto 2 big kills as they line up. It is a small magazine, but it does so much damage that it's able to get the job done. Virtue with 10 seconds left, no diffuser. This round is over. G2 will equalize on the bathroom teller's bomb site. Just stat padding at this point for Virtue. He gets Fabian. That's about it. G2, take the round.
Oh, that was weird. They didn't check Fountain.
This whole game has been very strange in terms of its pacing.
Not just this whole game, but both of the matches we cast.
Both the matches we casted have been very odd. Stop, start, stop, start.
Start, yeah. And then the lack of droning, too. What? I know there's a mute and a Mozzie, but come on, you're in the building. You're in that room. How is Cantor Ketty allowed to do that? I do not get it. Nobody even checked. They didn't face check. That was very winnable for Fnatic. Had they dealt with Cantor Ketty, I think that would have been a pretty solid round for them. Even if they lost 1 player to Cantor Ketty, they absolutely could have collapsed on the site and won the actual take. But oversight, there you go. Mistakes made. Moving on. G2 will take that one. We're going to Ventilation Workshop next. See how they do here. It's the same lineup minus the Mute plus the Kaid. So the Kaid going to be to try and delay the push in through the armory wall. Bandits out 2. Got that smoke in there. It's an interesting... I guess we didn't have Bandit last round, did we? We had him in the first round. But... anyway, no, actually we did.
I was going to say, there was a Bandit last round.
There was a Pulse, too.
There was a Pulse.
Yeah. Very different lineup, actually, for G2. It's entirely different.
I am slowly learning. I am slowly learning how to do this.
Do what?
To cast, to look at operator arms.
Huh? I missed it. Was it a reference?
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll sit here. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's okay. Do me a favor. You can make it up to me. Watch The Office.
Oh, it's an Office reference?
No, it wasn't, but you can make it up to me by watching The Office.
Oh, okay. Well, I get a lot more if I did that one, yeah. Which one? There's 2 versions, aren't there?
The American version.
Okay.
Everybody that says the British version is better are just all hipsters.
Oh.
They're just hipsters. That's all.
Okay. If you say so.
Anyway.
Take a look at it.
Ventilation Workshop for G2, round number 3, 30 seconds off the board. One half of the wall to Armory is reinforced and electrified. The other half is open ever so slightly, allowing the line of sight for the castle. The door also being castle barricaded means that, well, they can play very far back. And why is that? What does castle have? Impact grenades. If you throw an impact grenade at the ground where that hole is, it will blow up the exothermic charge on the other side of it. So Fnatic are aware that they cannot take that wall until Pengu has been removed from his spot. And that's why Magnet is prone from down below. Pengu gets shaken out, but he repositions so he can still throw that impact. Some damage being done, and there you go. Pengu's gone. Kanto Raketti is next in line. He assumes the position. Exothermic charge cutting through the steel barricade. It opens up, and a kill from Kanto right onto the head of Lusty, not expecting somebody to be there. Not droned out, and that information is a killer for Fnatic. Another now for G2 as its Mentalist taken out of action as the Jaeger down below, or rather up above, manages to take out the Sledge, who is playing above.
Well, advantage G2 and soundly, but it's not over yet. Kanto Raketti is kind of stranded. He might die here, and he will. There you go. So the pinch is in, and now Fnatic have a good amount of control upstairs, but not entire control. So you still see Uno. He actually just fell back there, dropped downstairs, and he's going to be playing on top of the server rack. Now, from the top of the server rack, you can get an angle into Armory entrance from that main wall. Probably pick off one player here or there. Depends on if Fnatic check it. If Fnatic checks and pre-fires, then Uno's taking a risk and he'll die. We won't know until that actually happens. You can see Fnatic trying to apply pressure to customs from above. If they can dislodge any roamer in custom, it's going to make the push into vents a lot easier. You're not going to have to deal with as much of a crossfire. But look at this. I mean, they haven't even pressured B at all. And Uno left the server. He's in B now, just waiting for an opportunity. There's the opportunity. Nice kill there from Uno. The second for him in the round. Tex and Magnet now alone. And that 2v3.
Good God, that was a shot from Uno as well. Perched atop the server, there goes the smoke, walking through it, the Thatcher, and now Fnatic head on in. Tex gets down though. Sir Boss, 2 big kills. He was a name that we haven't even said this entire time, and he's sitting there doing his job as quiet as he is in person. He lets that TCSG do the talking for him. G2 now with 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, weird round there from Fnatic. I mean, they got the clear upstairs, and then they kind of weren't sure where they wanted to attack. That's the main story for me. I'm definitely seeing G2 start to come out away with the edge in this matchup overall. The biggest thing that stands out to me is that the preparation work for Fnatic seems to be not doing as much as usual. I used to talk about like Fnatic, SSG, DZ, these are the type of teams. They put a lot of work in, they put a lot of prep in, and really structured, and they rely on that to give them an edge in their matches and stuff like that. And that's all well and good, but then sometimes, we do hit that, you hit that wall, hit that point where there's only so much it can do for you, and then more importantly, sometimes you just can't prep far enough. One thing that really stands out to me, I'm sure many of you are noticing it right now as well, Tex is the only one with more than 1 kill on his team. And look at that. You can look at the scores for yourself right now on the right side there for Fnatic. That's, I mean, yeah, okay, Pengu hasn't got a kill either, to be fair, and it's only 3 rounds in. Also, but it still does mean something.
This is a very disappointing performance for Fnatic up to this point. Kafe was closer than I think it could have been.
Yeah.
But G2 are, either their calling is better, their comms are cleaner, they have way more information, they're letting less nerves get to them, or a combination of all of the above, because Fnatic, the calling has been very suspect. There have been common spots where G2 are rotating or heading back, and there's just been no follow-up from Fnatic to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, isn't it?
Kanto Raketti heading on over to where Pengu was playing at Bunker, watching the soft wall in Armory. You could have very easily had a drone on that. You clear out Castle, but they never droned out that there was a second member of G2 nearby. Kanto, or if they had, it was outdated info.
Kanto again in Fountain earlier on the Teller's defense.
Also had not droned him out.
Yeah.
So he's played Mozzie every round, is it? So
I think he's played Mozzie all but 1 round. He played Ella.
Which is this round.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, to be fair to Fnatic, and we should mention that Mute and Mozzie combo has been pretty prevalent here for G2. But they're not doing it anymore, so at least no excuses now. Maybe the information gathering will be better for Fnatic. It's an armory hold here for G2. The wall is open. Cantor the only one here to hold it. Pengu is there too. Fabian going to rotate over, obviously, as you can see him slowly lumbering towards the wall. Virtue does have 2 stuns, which means that the Ela is going to feel a little bit of pressure. It'll come down to the timing of the detonation of those stuns.
The Clash has now been positioned towards the opening of the armory wall, so not only can Fabian continue to do calling if there's any IGLing happening from him, but additionally that he's able to just keep Fnatic at bay. However, they've got the firebolts, they've got concussions, there's so much that they can work with. A minute to go, you've got time, you just need to get the Clash into a position where when she goes to move, that fire is going to do maximum damage. But Fabian is a smart player, he's not going to want to battle with Destiny. There goes a fire as it tries to isolate the Clash. Well played, taking so much damage, ticking away, just gets away for just a second. Another run out from Uno as you say goodbye to, or rather another run out from Uno, and you say goodbye at the hands of Tex. Another Claymore, another dead Uno.
The armory take so far is looking pretty good for Fnatic, especially after that Claymore kill. Fabian will die to just about anything, as he ate so much damage from those firebolts. But the big thing is that there's only 30 seconds left for the execution to come in. A little bit of a trade there between Magnet and Pengu. Lusty will shut down Fabian as the lifeline stuns the shield away. Now it's all on Cantor and Sir Boss. Boss will pick up Tex on the back end. Cantor gets one. Nope, scratch that. It's Mentalist and Virtue to clean things up, and Fnatic will take their second round. Honestly thought that spray landed, but I was as blind as Cantor was.
Much more proficient take there from Fnatic, and it didn't even really come down to intel, and that's a big part of why they won that round. G2 were not particularly hiding. It was a very straightforward execute from Fnatic. Take the armory wall, clear out the debris, go on in. The only person that you're going to have to deal with right at the start is going to be that Clash. When Uno fell to the Claymore, you as a team know that you don't have such a concern with flanking. G2 is not going to, at that point, send somebody over to try to take care of you from a flank position. That is largely Uno's job, especially when there's a Clash there and you've got somebody following up. That means that there's 2 members of G2 that will likely be playing at another part of the site, maybe locking down the archives aspect of it, and another watching should the Clash go down because you need to have backup. So there was no info game that was required from Fnatic there, and it didn't seem like they spent that much time on drones. It was mostly straightforward, trying to juggle their utility against the positioning of G2. Well played from Magnet to get that firebolt down onto the doorway of small office and then to the left of the Clash so that the retreat that would happen from the Clash would be into the fire that was already growing from the very first firebolt. And then the follow-up stun when Fabian came back at that point, as you said, they only had 1 HP. Fabian wasn't going anywhere. Really, I mean, that was a very rhythmic style of take onto Armory. We've seen it 1,000 times, maybe not with the Clash. G2 likes running the Clash on this site and has done so over the past couple seasons. Didn't work out so well for them, and at the very end it just came down to an execute that relied on trading, and the trading favored Fnatic because of the early pick and the isolating that they'd done onto the Clash.
Teller's hold again for G2. See how this goes for them. Last time we were here, G2 managed it. It was their second round. It was pretty solid, actually. But the biggest thing was, obviously, Fnatic had control. It looked like they were going to win the round. They didn't drone out Cantor and Fountain for some reason, and then he picked up a double piece and fell back to the site and won the round. So that's pretty much the story. So Fnatic need to be a little bit more thorough. There's the Mozzie Mute combo coming out once again from G2. Which means that, that's a lot of information that's just going to be stopped dead. That drone, I think, might have actually got hit by a bandit battery. Not entirely sure. Bit of a waste, if it did. Didn't catch it, though. Slow going here again for Fnatic. They haven't even got control of East Stairs yet. Very slow, like I said. Pengu will get Virtue, so it gets even worse for Fnatic as they lose an early pick. That's the Zofia on a long angle from Suicide. It's a difficult shot to hit there, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Pengu. There's the EMP. The wall gets opened up, or it should do. Firebolt to get Uno, but he will trick a little bit of the wall before losing some HP and falling back. He's downed by Tex, who's catching it on the rotate. Beautiful job from Tex. The open area control is in for Fnatic.
Fnatic are also at the bottom of the stairs, so they've made very quick work. And Fabian assesses the dead corpse of his teammate, goes on to the cardiac sensor. 9 meters is the range for Fabian to be able to see the positioning of Fnatic at the bottom of East. That wall has been opened up too, so if the pulse can get droned out, he might be in trouble. The fire arrow doesn't look like it hits.
Oh, miss, yeah.
A very large missed opportunity for Magnet there, but the bullets don't miss at all. Goodbye, Fabian, inside of the site. Fnatic, who had struggled with information work, are doing a much more adept job, and while the mute has been spotted, as this advantage continues to grow for Fnatic. It's now Pengu who finds himself removed, and it's Sir Boss and Kanto Raketti. Sir Boss has definitely had a better performance here, but he has not necessarily been on the front lines of the G2 army. Kanto Raketti is obviously somebody who we don't really need to go into too much depth about and what he can accomplish. But it doesn't bode well for them, especially now that Sir Boss is all but dead. Play going down from Lusty, it's about halfway there. C4 ready, tossed out, it doesn't go in, it catches the side of the soft wall. A kill from Sir Boss, but Kanto falls, and it's only an HP and a dream for the mute. He'll reload, why not? You've got plenty of time. Fnatic with that diffuser down know that things are going to go so effectively for them. C4 gets tossed out to no avail, a peek around the corner, but Mentalist is ready for it. And Fnatic now take the lead. They won round number 1, they gave the lead up after, but now they seem to be finding their stride.
Yeah, looking a lot more solid now on the first half of the second map. You could see G2 now contemplating their decisions through this match. Gonna have to think about what they do moving forward. Ventilation defense, the next bomb site here. Not gonna try tellers again. Mozzie mute castle once more. Cade as well for added layers. Well, I mean, so far we haven't really seen anything too crazy. That last round, I mean, I'll be honest, the way that Fnatic shifted from the top to the bottom clear caught G2 off guard. Straight up. They weren't ready for it. Lots of players lost in the transition for G2 because they were falling off of their top hold, trying to retreat to the site, trying to extend themselves further into workshop, and in that process, G2 just lost control and lost manpower. We're going to, like I said, vents, something a little bit different. Thatcher has been a huge advantage here for Fnatic, I gotta say. This is one of the reasons why that operator gets banned so frequently. Not only has Tex been fragging out with 10 kills right now, but also that Thatcher has just been chewing through things like Bandit Batters, Ka-Yeet Electro Claws. It's been doing a lot of work on the information game for G2. Castle did get 6-picked to a Valkyrie here. No IQ for Fnatic, so I guess that's G2 accounting for that information deficiency, trying to fix it up. See how that goes for them. I'm curious to see if Fnatic's going to try and pull a fast one like they did in the last round. Hasn't really worked for them in ventilation in the past. G2's only gone here once, but they won it.
Have we seen any real rush strats work in this tournament? I feel like every time we see a team just run in as quickly as they can,
yes,
does it work out?
It was on Clubhouse server Fnatic, I think, actually. Yeah, I don't recall the exact.
Oh, that's right. That is right. You are correct.
Who were they playing? It was Fnatic, though.
It was Empire.
Yeah. Fnatic versus Empire Clubhouse. It was a cash defense. They rushed in through the server wall. They won the round. But that was that's the only one I can remember being successful.
That was a messy one too, and especially if they were able to pull it off against a team like Empire.
Well, Empire, yeah, they were. Well, I mean, that's the past, right? They were looking a little bit shaky in that one.
So, Armory Wall opened up. First floor site, which means that you need to control the second floor, which is where Pengu is hanging out, and Uno is not too far off. They are within a couple seconds of each other, and then Kanto as well. They almost form a Triforce, or rather just a triangle, if you want to call it that.
It depends on if you're a fan of that particular little lore there.
I mean, you got the reference, which is all I can really ask for at this stage.
I think I did.
Nope, don't. Just let me have it. Anyway.
Okay.
So Uno is upstairs because Pengu has fallen away, but you still have Kanto playing nearby. And a smart move, obviously, for Pengu to drop because he picks off Magnet. Goodbye to the Capitao. The fire is gone, the smoke is gone, and there are no follow-up set of smokes for Fnatic. So were you looking for the isolation that comes with that, being able to cut off Workshop. That's not going to happen. No cut-off events either. We see one drop from G2 as they have not lost a single beat, but they will lose Fabian, so Virtue catches one member of G2 in the rotate, as that was the mute repositioning. Uno dispatches Mentalist. 45 seconds, and they're just getting picked left and right from each team with no refrag potential. Destruction work upstairs, but still, this is Fnatic not being aware of the fact that they have second floor control. A bit of a mix-up as they bump into each other. Tex takes out Pengu, so back to a 3v3, and it's sandwich soft destruction to see if the Zofia can look down. And yes, indeed, a couple bits of damage that's done to the Kaid of Sir Boss, or rather looked like it might have been, but he gets away. And somehow mysteriously is actually full HP, so no. And turns around, and as Virtue thought that he had the better of him, it's the TCSG in hand. Another kill for Uno, his second. Sir Boss looking to feast upon Lusty and keep this tied up at 3-3. But I think Lusty knows 0-0-0 on the clock. G2 tie it up. That's what you expect from one half of Border. The teams will now swap sides.
So I did, yeah, I got it.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you, Parker. I did Google it to be sure, though. Now, we are going to have an even split. Parker said it right. This is pretty common on Border, especially when you have teams like these that can go toe-to-toe with each other. That attack there onto Ventilation was way too slow. Fnatic were coming into Armory, but they lost too many players in that process. They also wasted way too much time. This is curious. Uno is the one to pick up the shield, not Pengu. A little bit of a sidestep there. Not what I'm expecting when I see these teams go head-to-head, usually. Not these teams, sorry, just G2. I'm expecting Pengu to play Montaigne. I think everybody is. But things change. Maybe Pengu's not feeling it after that last map, when he played it twice and it didn't really accomplish too much. The second time, Pengu managed to do some serious work, but the first time he just got shut down. And we'll see how this pans out. Right now, it's everything standard for Fnatic. They're bringing the Maestro because he's available. Valkyrie because she's amazing here. Smoke for denial. Jaeger for catching those throwables and projectiles, and the Goyo to round things out on the delay instead of Elysian. That is kind of the spot that Goyo tends to fill. It's like you're either going to bring the Goyo or you're going to bring the Legion. Sometimes you can bring both, I guess, but that means you have to sacrifice something else, something significant, probably information. Is this gonna, I think this might be just an Archives take from G2. They might just try to work their way in through Archives and the Montaigne go for a plant as quick as he can.
It absolutely looks that way, and the Maestro's now moved over. Magnet's not watching that door, but you can see something being shot at, likely debris onto the cabinet, so...
We're waiting for Pengu to get into position, and now here we go.
This is just going to be a very easy plant, but you got to be very careful. There's something beneath you. Down goes Fabian. Sir Boss attempting the plant. Is there a Nitro Cell that goes out? There it is! But it doesn't go! The smoke will manage to take down Sir Boss. No real attempt, as the earlier pick had gone to Fnatic as well. Kanto Ricchetti finds the very first kill for G2 in this round. A failed attempt to take control of Archives, as that is as old a plant as you are going to see in this game, from all the way back when Border was first introduced.
Yeah, that's about as classic as it gets there from G2. Really displaying their OG feathers. But at the same time, it didn't work. Not at all. Now they're going to have to recover from a serious disadvantage in terms of HP, manpower. At least they have time. That's good. They're not going to reload. They're not going to relocate. No rotation here. G2 is going to focus entirely on the B-bomb site. They're committed. Second smoke come out. There goes your shield. Kanto Ricchetti rushing, missing his shots. He's got plenty though. Lusty will finish him with the deagle. Pengu picks up the Montaigne in the middle of the fight. There's a 3 kill there for Magnet, and Virtue the final kill. Fnatic lock out that round. A solid hold of Archives.
Not bad at all for your first take on defense, but obviously a lot of that goes to G2, where that is a hell of a gamble. If that push doesn't work out, it is such a challenge to be able to make anything work afterwards. So you go for the push, it doesn't pay off. There really isn't as strong of a plan B as a standard take would have, right? So G2 tried it. They came very close. The C4 got shot. The Toxic Canister did not. And that ultimately ended up killing Sir Boss, whose stats take a beating because the overall strategy for G2 does not pan out. So, with an Armory defense under their belts, Fnatic are not going to go to bathroom tellers, nor to customs, as some teams have been favoring, but instead, it's old reliable ventilation and workshop. For G2, they have 6th picked off of the Montaigne, so he's not going to be present, or rather picked off of the Montaigne altogether. Much more standard for G2 here. Now, for the second map in a row, G2 is not running Thermite or Hibana. They are just going to go with the Maverick as their sole Heart Breacher. And I find that very interesting to watch. This is obviously a deliberate strategy. Since G2 knows it's going to be Vents and Workshop, your Heart Destruction is going to go where? Maybe onto the bathroom wall, maybe onto the Armory wall. But if it could be used in a certain way, you cut lines in that Armory wall, right there, both reinforced, the Maverick is not going to be used to open up a walkway on in unless you've already got full clearance. You're going to use it to maybe poke holes, play around it, or go somewhere else.
Jeez, Kanto.
He's got so much ammunition.
Yeah. You can see how well he's practiced that recoil control, too. That's the really cool thing about what we have right now is those predictable patterns. You can plan out the exact spray. It makes every gun pretty much a laser beam. You just have to actually practice that laser beam. It's pretty neat.
And we Void Edge being teased. We're going to space. Laser beam guns. Maybe one of them will have the Moonraker from GoldenEye.
Have you seen all the content creators tweeting out? It's like, guys, I'm playing it right now. Be excited.
I thought that was a meme.
Yes.
I'm letting you know right now that if they bring the Moonraker, which is a reference that virtually 10% at most of the people watching are going to get, which it keeps me very much.
I don't get that one.
Keeps me very much in the boomer category. But anyway,
is it a game?
It's a laser weapon from GoldenEye, the game back on the N64.
Oh, so it is a game. I actually played that game.
It's not a game. The game is GoldenEye. Moonraker is the weapon in the game. Anyway.
No, I know, I get it, but it is a game reference.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't actually remember it, but I did play that game.
I think GoldenEye came out before you were alive.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't. I'm not saying I played it when it came out. I was born in '97, so I have no idea. I don't remember. Anyway, G2's got control of Office, and they're trying to turn that into top floor. Taking from Office instead of Armory, G2 are going at this a little bit different than the way that Fnatic went at it. I mean, it's a little bit of a mix-up. Fnatic were primarily taking from Office when they were attacking onto Armory. That's an aggressive play from whoever that was on Fnatic. Opened up the hole as well, and Magnet will die to Fabian, who is ready this time.
The best part is that as this is all happening, Moonraker was actually like a movie, and I just managed to tilt everybody, but it isn't.
Panther Raketti picking up another kill as well. Fnatic now find themselves a 2-man disadvantage. Tex on low HP. This is looking a lot like an attack win for G2.
45 seconds left, but down goes Kanto Raketti, so Virtue with some firepower of his own. Sir Boss literally eats a toxic canister to his head as Uno goes down, and we got to see the first-person perspective, almost a VR adventure there.
3D.
Yeah, there you have it, as it's another kill from Fnatic, back to 3v3. Very close to actually being able to push into the site. Pengu takes down Virtue. A vault on in through the hatches, watching the hatch above, or the soft wall, and the rotate rather. Still, you have one member of G2 who can spend time just watching the flank, but Lusty's above. Takes out Pengu. There's still possession. There they go, another down. It's Sir Boss in a 1v2. Does he have time to pick up Fabian? No, Deagle comes out from Lusty. 3 kills from the traditional support player. Sir Boss, you have to prove your worth right now. This is it. All eyes are on you in a 1v2. Time is running down. Your opponents have the advantage, and you just need to sit and wait. You are blind to your left. Where are the remaining members of Fnatic? One will retake from the stairs while Tex comes around. Down goes Sir Boss. Lusty wins the fight. Plenty of time on that diffuser. They just need to see it. It's in the default spot. Do they know where it is? Yes, it's spotted. And with time to spare, 5-3 Fnatic. Excellent retake. Lusty, a 4K and the disable. How's that for his cost? Excellent rating from him in that round. Lusty, huge play, and Fnatic stretches their lead.
Those are the types of rounds that buff up your rating significantly. Timeout being called from one of these teams. Looks like it's G2, as they're going to consider what to do next. That was definitely a round that they could have won. Came pretty close. Early on, that looked like a G2 round, hands down. I was thinking, yeah, no question, that's G2. They're going to take it. Not so, though, towards the end. As the vertical pressure started to mount, G2 suffered. And now Fnatic find themselves one away from match point. Really, that's all Lusty. Right time, right place. Holding all the holes from above. Picking off player after player after player. Manages to get the last one in Sabas. Beautiful play from him. We'll see how G2 bounces back. Fabian, of course, vocal player on the team, trying to contribute some stuff there. You can see kind of in the bottom left corner, his mic is shaking around. There he is.
Imagine having to listen to him.
He's telling all his players, he's like, you guys are the worst. I'm the best.
Imagine having to
feed all the kills to me.
Imagine having to listen to him. Just like I feel so badly for Sir Boss. Just having he gets in this environment.
Yeah, look at him. I mean,
he gets in this environment, and then it's like you have to listen to Fabian all the time. And
yeah,
it's just like
he didn't win that round, and you know, like that the pressure must be pretty heavy there.
You know, there's worse things in life, I guess.
The really funny thing is that Fabian's actually really...
Do we have to always say this? Oh, he's actually really nice.
Well, fine. I won't say it then.
No, but I said it, so I feel like we still have the same.
Well, you did say it. And now you're on record having said that. How does that feel?
It feels pretty bad, dude.
No.
It feels, Michael, I've had better days.
Oof.
No. It is going to be a bathroom/tellers defense now, as Fnatic are perfect through their first two defenses on border, on both Armory and Vents. What are they bringing to the table here? Well, that retake on the previous round doesn't really come from the type of operator lineup unless it was aided by Valkyrie cameras, etc. Here, you're going to see some stall potential. Utility soak in spades with the castle barricades as well as the Koyo shield. So those are things to keep sight of. And then additionally, not only will they be great for utility soaking, they will cut down on avenues in towards the site. And that will also be something that Lusty focuses on. The pests from the Mozzie will basically not just stop the drones and capture them, but it will shift the way that the attackers have to take certain parts of the map, because you're not going to drone through a pest unless you sacrifice one of the most important pieces of, I guess, that you have in your toolkit. Here's an immediate change from G2, though. They have decided that Maverick is not the operator for border and have decided to roll with one of the more conventional hard breachers, as it's a Thermite now for Sir Boss.
See how that rolls for him. The Maverick slowing down the take, it seems. That's probably something that was discussed during the technical timeout there from G2. It was like, hey, you know, Maverick, maybe not. Not great, no. Let's change it up, smooth things over. Now they will have the tools that they want. We haven't seen Fnatic defend Tellers yet, but the setup's pretty much the same as what we saw from G2. Castle's the only pivotal operator here, like the required operator. You gotta have a castle. Defending Tellers without a castle is just so bad. Kenturkedi will get Magnet, so there goes one of your umps. Also, a lot of information that's just no longer going to be gathered by the Pulse.
Additionally, there's the pest catching a drone. Ooh. So you do trade out a member of your team, and Magnet, who's been so strong in this matchup, though Tex is the one currently top fragging from last I saw on the scoreboard. There is a pest now for Lusty, but it won't be used for too long as Lusty perishes to a frag grenade tossed on in from Fabian. He will catch that one, and it is to the detriment of Fnatic. This timeout has obviously made some changes, and Shas must like what he sees as G2 takes an early upper hand, and now they need to translate it in towards the site, which is a little bit less orthodox, but becoming more common to attack. So the discomfort factor from G2 should be very minimal as to how to crack this nut that is the defense of Fnatic. It is a site that is on the first floor, and while Tex gets softened up, all three members of Fnatic are on the second floor, so they will all need to head on down, or G2 will be able to capitalize on this. There wasn't much left of Tex, but now even that is gone as G2 continues to stretch things out. and are looking for a flawless round. They won't find it though, as Uno gets dropped and dispatched by Virtue, but Pengu with the final 2 kills will be about as close as you can come. So G2, they are trailing, but they close the gap ever so slightly.
Important to note as well that because G2 won that first map, they only need a few rounds here to actually end this out. Now, if you lose this match, you are not out of the tournament. There's a loser bracket, so you'll get a second chance. But of course, you want to go the right way through that winner's bracket. Do the best that you can and make the way to the finals in the best way possible. It'll be an Armory defense for Fnatic next. We'll see how they go on that site. Nope.
Nope.
Hmm?
Nope.
Nope.
You say soap?
Nope.
Soap.
I said oh. OHB.
For a match that has been as close as this is, there really hasn't been that much fireworks. I'm not trying to undersell this matchup, but we continuously reference how oddly paced it is.
The whole thing's been weird.
And yeah, it's been very weirdly paced. It's been a fun map to watch. It's been a fun match. Kafe was also enjoyable, but it just hasn't been the same.
I would say wonky.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
I think it's for me, my guess, it's the pressure. Because neither of these teams are really playing like they did in the group stages.
Yes.
And I think it's just, like there's a lot of weight added when you get up into the playoffs. Take a look at that scoreline on G2 side. 6-5, 6-6-5. Man, can we just switch Fabian and Cantor please? It is, just like move them up, move Cantor down, Fabian up 1, and then it's perfect. Anyway, Tex is going to get the leadoff kill here. So congratulations to Fnatic, early lead established. Fabian gone. And now he will have more time to talk to his team about stuff while he waits to play in the next round.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I lost track of how I was writing my notes there. So thank you for covering for me, Michael. Thank
On the opening, yeah.
No, I got it. Don't worry. So, this match is still anybody's, but Fnatic with a victory on Armory can secure match point. It will get more difficult right at the onset as Uno Meister finds kill numero uno onto Mentalist. Mentalist has been losing the opening duels a fair amount over the last couple days, and well, you're going to need him to be in harm's way a little bit less, and you know, maybe unless you expect him to be engaging Uno, but Uno doesn't have a single point of damage done to him, so my guess is that it was just Mentalist caught out. And this is the thing, I think you can refer to this as APAC border, where it's just Fnatic are getting away with very silly things, and I will use the word silly to describe it, where these rotates are not getting punished, their aggression is not particularly getting punished. Down goes Pengu. Fabian's already gone as well, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's two players that G2 really don't want to lose when it comes to the site take. Now Fnatic are looking pretty strong. Virtue going to expend one of his gas canisters. I wonder how many he has left. Looks like it's going to be 2. So he'll be able to delay for a significant amount of time on that wall still, but there's still 60 seconds left. That's a big kill for Cantor as Tex peeks wide. And that's going to open up the entire round pretty much for G2.
A slow peak in control of 90 for Cantor Ricchetti with 50 seconds left. Uno staring at the breach hole. Sir Boss still alive. Sir Boss will be the one who will be the C4 magnet and the explosive and toxic canister magnet if Virtue has any left in his pocket. There's also those evil eye cams up for tasing potential. Only one toxic canister. It'll be good for the final 15 or so seconds, of which we are almost halfway there.
Ooh. I wonder if he saw those feet. He might not have.
Not entirely certain. ADS will eat one of those grenades thrown on in. There's another flash that gets tossed, but nobody in Fountain right now, at least not as far as they can see. Creeping on up will be an Archives push, and there's that final toxic canister with a split push coming in from the Thatcher of Uno, and he's in. He sees the smoke. Down goes Virtue. Sir Boss also goes down, and Fnatic are just locking them out. The Maestro with some significant damage, but Cantor Ricchetti has no choice but to play it. He'll go for it. He gets into it. Magnet is down. Lusty getting the marks.
Oh.
Can it be called correct? No, it's not default spot. Lusty, you were so good before, and Magnet tried to crawl to aid you, but the wrong information being relayed to Fnatic can be their doom now. Kanto Raketti outside. This is a hard spot for Lusty to be able to win from. If he provokes this diffuser, he'll long arm it. Can he be spotted? That's the real question. He's about halfway there. Kanto Raketti on up. He sees the hand of Lusty falling. Oh, what a clutch from Lusty! And it's going to be match point for Fnatic. Very well played by the Valkyrie. And APAC still has a fighting chance in this one. One round away from map 3.
You see Virtue's like, you're nuts. How do you do that?
What the? What the?
Look at Virtue's face. It's just, what?
We are all Virtue's face.
Exactly. Beautiful play there from Lusty. And, you know, I got to say, Lusty played pretty poorly in map number 1 overall. And if you take a look at the live stats, actually, to be honest, he's had a weird season, but he's been pulling up clutch with these plays recently. And not a weird season, I mean a weird match. He's been pulling up clutch with his plays recently, and he's actually bumped up his stats quite significantly over just the last few rounds on this defensive half of Border. It's been really good for Lust. Now, it's not done yet, but it's looking a whole lot like a map number 3 here, Parker.
It absolutely is. So we have Villa, a tremendously strong map for G2 historically. A map that, I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of immediate thoughts and tape on for Fnatic, especially with the way that they play it in ANZ. So that's information that you can look at.
They don't. It's their most banned map by far and away.
I mean, here's the thing with a coach like Dizzle. He is not sabotaging his map ban phase to gamble it all on a map that you're not playing on.
Remember when we talked about it, I think it was like 2-3 days ago, we were talking about it actually earlier, is most teams going into a LAN like Invitational, leading up to it, they will shroud a map in mystery by banning it a bunch, leading up to like an Invitational. And then when they get to the Invitational, they've practiced that map. So I doubt Fnatic is not prepared to play Villa, but they don't play Villa recently. Last few months, nah. It's been banned a bunch. They played it one time, they lost it.
Is that what you want to gamble on?
That's the scary bit, yeah.
That is very scary if you're a Fnatic fan. But the Aussie team has one round to go to be able to take a better scoreline than we saw on Kafe, and this has been a very close matchup. Kanto Raketti stops for just a second as the Valkyrie camera gets taken out of action, as it is a, what is it, a ventilation workshop take for G2.
Well, this is a site that's been actually really favorable towards Fnatic. It was the one that Lusty clutched on where he got the quad kill. Solid one from him. You can't, of course, expect that to happen again. Lightning doesn't always strike the same place twice. But we might see some good performance still from Fnatic as a whole. 2 cameras gone for Fnatic. That's lots of information lost.
Very quickly gone as well.
Yeah, with the IQ in play, though, I mean, you'd expect him to get shot at some point, no matter what. But it's still very fast for G2.
EMP gets tossed out as those holes that have been opened up between the floors are watched very keenly by G2. Deagle making some soft destruction work. Lusty likely going for verticality, is that he's the only one that can run the Deagle of the operators listed. Virtue taking some damage, that's really it. Halfway through the round. He is playing by default bomb site, or he's playing by default plant, just by the grinder. He's also got Fabian watching, so this is going to be a rough fight if Virtue misses a couple shots. With that SMG-11's recoil, you can't always predict where it's going to go.
Right now, the entirety of this round is G2 vertical control, opening from above, forcing the anchors to become roamers, off-site, horizontally. I mean, it's not the end of the world for Fnatic, to be honest. They're all still alive. That's all that really matters in the end. As long as they can retake their site, they'll be fine.
G2 are very much in worry of stalling out now, as we know that they've lost 2 cameras on Fnatic's side, but they still have the Mozzie and Mute to stop G2. But G2 have been able to bail themselves out of these positions before, and there's verticality as well that could go in spades for G2. They see the gun barrel of the Valkyrie, very well played. Good coordination, Pengu capitalizes, there's your opening frag. G2 obviously on the ropes, they know this. They're match point for APAC and, well, for Fnatic. as we'll call them, with the whole region resting on their shoulders. Unomeister with one, traded off by Magnet. Fire burning and a drop will need to happen over towards servers. Virtue peeks on out. Kanto Raketti gets a very, very simple kill. There's the SMG-11 of Magnet. Fabian is in pursuit, cannot find him, but timer running out. You'll need to plant if you're Pengu. He'll attempt it. It's Kanto Raketti to watch, but he's downed. Pengu, is anybody watching him? Fabian's there from above. There's the SMG-11 in hand, but it's a fall off on the plant or a down. Beautifully well played by Fnatic. Pengu is not able to stick it. And the Aussies with the upset here on map number 2. They take it away from G2. And we will need Villa to settle this affair.
Going the distance in Fnatic G2, Villa will surely be an interesting map, as there's just not a lot of information coming from Fnatic's side. So it's going to be definitely one to look out for.
I cannot get over how strange so many parts of this map played out. Missed opportunity there from Kanto. There were a number of them from both teams. Just simply deficiencies in aiming, deficiencies in strategy, so on and so forth. But with that said, the analysts have a lot to pick apart, and will probably have some questions just like we do. Hopefully they'll have more answers than we do.
Thank you so much, Parker and Kickstar. Great casting and an even better game that we saw here on Border. So let's talk about a few things right now. Lusty and Tex, they went absolutely off.
Yeah, Lusty in particular with that clutch really set the pace for closing out the map for Fnatic. But I think in terms of consistency and what really Fnatic was gunning throughout the whole game, it was Tex. We talked about how he was an opening death numerous times on Kafe. Here he was 4-0 in terms of opening kills versus opening deaths. And I think that really helped Fnatic get that little bit of an edge moving into the rest of the map.
Another thing I would like to point out, and Imzo, you and I spoke about it a lot, we saw a lot of strategies with G2 where they ignored verticality, and verticality was the reason why they lost that map ultimately in the final seconds of that round. Tell me a little bit about how G2 needs to be more aware of stuff like that heading into the future.
The benefit of doing that, right, is you saw them struggle with some time management on Kafe. Because they're able to fight on a 2-floor map here, they only have to worry about rotates from limited locations. So I understand the mentality, right? You want to attack vents, you want to attack that particular site, and then just cut off rotates. But they're not bringing the operators to cut those rotates off. We're not seeing any roam control operators come out from G2, and I think that's hurting them at the end of the day. I understand, though, it does burn a lot of time playing vertical.
Well, you know who banned Nomad? G2 themselves.
Yeah.
And Nomad is so powerful on Border, and Gridlock really doesn't cut it compared to Nomad. So maybe that was actually part of the problem. Now, something I do want to touch on that we're having a good chat to Fresh.
Let loose, Def Martin.
We're having a good chat to Fresh, who's one of the analysts for G2, and he explained some of his thought process for picking this map because, like we've talked about, there's no VODs on Fnatic for this map, but Fresh was convinced, as was the whole of G2, that Fnatic were expecting Consulate or Villa, and they were practicing those really hard. So this is the interesting part. G2 decided they respected Fnatic's ability to counter-strat so much, they decided to go for a map that they would be less comfortable on, and they knew that they didn't have any info on Fnatic on, and they wanted to win based on fundamentals, gunplay, communication, teamwork. They thought they were better than Fnatic at those 3 things, and maybe not.
So heading into Villa, how was Fnatic before this team change?
Villa in particular, they were terrible. This has been a terrible map for Fnatic for such a long time, and it became one of their most banned maps for such a long time as well. And now finally we have the roster changes, 2 new guys in the mix, and I know for a fact they've been practicing it a lot.
Okay.
So.
Speaking of practicing, so Fnatic and G2, they actually boot camped on their way here.
That's right.
Now, you've cast a lot of Pro League. You've seen a lot of G2. What's your thoughts on G2 heading into Villa? Do you think they have a chance to shut it down?
I think so, and I think the way they can do that is create a bit more chaos on Team Fnatic. Because one thing I noticed listening to the comms, because we're a bit closer positioned to the Fnatic guys, and I can kind of hear how they're playing. Kafe was a lot of chaotic screaming.
Yeah.
Border, on the other hand, was a lot of clear comms, especially from Magnet, playing those IGL roles and just making the clear comms. If they can disrupt that on Villa, and it's going to be a hard time for Fnatic, and that's what G2 need to do, just be really unpredictable, deny their intel as much as possible, and I think it could happen here for G2 pretty easily.
Me personally, I feel like the jet lag wore off just a little bit. Going into Border, we saw a whole different type of Fnatic. Lusty, Tex, getting over 10 kills apiece. All right, they start to wake up, and their stat lines were extremely impressive. Heading into this next map, one thing that was really important to me that's going to stand out big time, whenever Fnatic was up in numbers, you and I heard it. I think it was Magnet yelling out, "Don't push, sit back, stay back, we have an advantage." They weren't being overly aggressive, but you know what? They were winning the gunfights, which shows their confidence heading into this third map.
Something that you pointed out as well is Fnatic won all of the rounds on defense where they brought Valkyrie.
Yeah, it's that intel.
Yeah, and the intel really enables aggression from Fnatic, and that was what was working. As soon as they were at a deficit, they tried to wean off the aggression a little bit, but as soon as they had the info, as soon as they thought, yeah, we can get this kill, there was no hesitation.
The perfect example was when Monty was planting the round, they countered it with smoke. I was listening to the comms and I could hear very clearly every time he tried to go for the plant, or even when the C4 failed, it was called out by Magnet. They knew exactly what was happening on the other side of that bookshelf at all times, and that's why they won that round.
And part of that as well, G2 had a really good strategy on this Archives plant where they were trying to plant in that doorway near the bookshelf. G2 had some really good strategies. They had a way, Fresh was telling us, they had a way of countering the C4 toss by using Zophia's impact grenades, shooting them near where the C4 would go to destroy the C4. It actually worked. It destroyed that C4, but Magnet rotated below. So this is some really high-level siege that's being displayed from both of these teams.
All right, so predictions. Are we going to stand still on what we said earlier?
I would like to see it go 8-7, G2.
G2?
Just to see Fnatic put up a hell of a fight.
I know that both of these teams are absolutely ready for this map, and I think it's going to go all the way. This is going to be the closest map in the series so far. And look,
They're smiling so hard right now.
I'm obliged to say Fnatic's going to win this one. They're going straight to the semis.
All right, so what would a win for Fnatic right here mean for APAC as a region?
Well, I think that there's been a huge disappointment, especially me as someone from APAC, an avid APAC viewer. There's been a huge disappointment so far in Six Invitational.
Okay.
Giants dropped the ball. Wildcard were a disappointment as well, and it's harsh to say, but it's what everyone's thinking. Fnatic were that last shining hope and beacon, and being able to take down not only Empire, but G2, the most recent, like the huge giants of the international Rainbow Six Siege, it's a huge accolade to bear.
The Titans are finally starting to fall, and it's all starting with that one APAC team, Fnatic. But ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into the tiebreaker map, Villa Kickstar. Parker, take it away.
Veli, I think it happened again.
It happened again.
I think it happened again.
Thank you so much, Veli.
Thank you so much, Veli.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Well, we're here for a map that, in terms of stats, we don't see much of from Fnatic. So whether there is some, whether this will be over or not is the question. Right as soon as we were finished with that second map, I stepped outside to go grab some refreshments. And while I was out there, Dizzle looks at me and he shakes his head and he goes, "It should be over already." So there's the sentiment for Fnatic, in case you're curious.
Oof. Well, I mean, I hope we get really good competition here in this last map.
I'm just hoping they all have fun, Michael.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here, Michael. So Fnatic starting on defense, their very first time that they will do so. It's a pretty good map to be starting on defense because, well, it's Villa. A notoriously defender-sided map. Oh, hello!
It's a smoke ban.
That is a big brain play.
Don't see that very often there. No, sir. Interesting ban from Fnatic. We'll see how that pans out for them moving forward. It's going to be Aviator to start.
I am trying to remember the last time we saw a smoke ban at this level of competitive play. It was probably the Mocket/Orglis squad because, well, that's what they did. And it would usually be on Oregon.
I want to see the last time I saw a smoke ban. Yeah, that's their first time in recent history. The last few months, that's the first time that Fnatic specifically has banned smoke.
Wow.
So it's a weird ban. I guess they were really suffering from smoke in the last map. Maybe it was, we were talking about it actually during the break, Parker. So it's been a wonky match in terms of the timing and the way that the executions have been coming out. The kind of stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. And I think maybe Fnatic is fed up with that. They're like, you know what, can we just get rid of one of the layers that's going to slow us down the most, and that would be smoke, so.
Yeah, let's just win at this point.
Yeah, can we just win? I want that W. Just take it home, please.
I believe it's called getting that bread.
Yes.
I think they just want to get that bread.
Seconds to go.
So.
Manufacture the sourdough.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I was trying to think of all the other ones and the riffs and the way they play around that, but I mean, I don't really subscribe to the youngins memery like that, but anyway.
I'm not good at it either.
G2 once again banning the Fnatic special, which is taking out the uniform and gun skin off of Nomad, and then also doing the same for the gun skin off of Echo. Shame on you, G2. Shame them for doing that.
They don't want them to make any money from that pilot program.
That is correct.
Yeah.
No money at all, which, by the way, goes
Targeted
into the prize pool of the Six Invitational. So
yeah, make sure if you really want to contribute to the prize pool, go for that battle pass.
yeah.
30% of proceeds go into the Six Invitational, so you definitely want to get on that.
Very first take here, and G2 is back on the Maverick-only train, which is something that a couple teams have ran. They're not going to opt for the Thermite, as Hibana is banned. You only really have access to those 2 hard breachers, of which oftentimes Maverick is not considered a staple hard breach. He is usually just seen as kind of that flex hard breach kind of role. He doesn't really, I don't know. He doesn't really open up walls the same way. Anywho.
We almost saw Uno get a pick there on a magnet, but just barely missed the shot. And so we'll continue with an even round count. Fnatic on defense first. That should be an advantage considering this is Villa, typically a defender-sided map.
First kill of Villa is going to go to Virtue, and Lusty is there as well. Strong start for the Australian lads, as G2 losing their set of smokes. That's not ideal. And then losing as well 2 of their most consistent fraggers. Could we see a flawless round? Caster's Curse, maybe? This is very similar to saying shutout when you're watching a hockey matchup. Goodbye, Fabian. Sir Boss and Pengu in a 1v5. There's one for Pengu on Mentalist, so yeah, I think I might have cursed them. Sir Boss will look the wrong way, loses the fight to Virtue. Very well played by the Legion, and with a minute to go, it's Pengu for G2. Ooh. Could this be Impactless or the start of a comeback, as he does manage to catch Lusty on the bottom of the stairs and now heads up to Astronomy. Reinforcements over here designed to waste time. Diffuser will need to be retrieved, and as a 3-speed of IQ, Pengu can make up ground very quickly. But here's where things get challenging. The Legion is still alive. He's going to continuously take damage as he just trudges on, very wary about getting peeked from over by Classical Hall. Perfect time for pre-fires, and there's still an ult on the board, so that Maestro can just start firing with reckless abandon. Doesn't need to, though. It's Virtue. Huge round for Virtue. What was that? 3 kills for him. Fnatic pick up round number 1 here on Villa.
Pretty significant round, yeah, that's for sure. Virtue contributing a lot, Lusty as well. Just in general, though, the defense for Fnatic, well established. The roamers did their job, and G2 struggled with the clear after they got past Statuary Trophy. Decent attempt there from G2, but not a whole lot of results in the gunfights, especially. Trophy, Statuary, the next bomb site. So we're going to, wow, okay, so we're going to like the most standard bomb sites here for Fnatic. And to me, that speaks to, because of the nature of Fnatic, which is to say that they tend to go to off-sites first, off-sites frequently, and do the best on them. They're going to Trophy, and they're going to Aviators, their primary. That's about as standard as it gets. So I don't know, like we'll see. Maybe they're going to go to Living Room and surprise all of us.
Kitchen would likely be next if we see the most played sites, right?
Yeah. And of course, this is only site selection. Doesn't necessarily mean that Fnatic is wrong. I'm just surprised. Most teams that are proficient at Villa at this event thus far typically start with Kitchen, or maybe they're bringing a Living Room. And we've been seeing a lot of that, actually, especially in the group stages. But Fnatic are going for the bog standard. I mean, that doesn't mean that they're going to lose it or anything. It's just interesting observation. Now,
5 seconds remaining.
We'll see. No, it's worth noting that Fnatic came within 1 round of pushing into OT in map number 1.
Yep.
And
very, very close.
Yeah, and if they had gone to OT, maybe they win it there. That's only 2 rounds. They only need 2 rounds after you get to OT. This could have been a 2-0 over G2. Could have been.
That's exactly what Dizzle said. He said this one should have already been over. So for him and his team's fans, not what they wanted to be, but there's still time.
Is what it is. You know, they find themselves in this position, but they can always get out. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, again, it's just Fnatic. I mean, I don't really know how they are on Villa because they don't play it at all.
Yep.
Now, slow going here for G2 on the master take. They're trying to come at this as about as standard as possible, same way that Fnatic is defending the site as standard as possible. And that is to say that the clear is coming in through Master Bathroom. And, well, I mean, it's cleared, and we've got control. Pengu on repel of Astro. Pressure applied to site. Oh, a whole lot coming of it. C4 will miss there, I believe, from Virtue. We'll check that. Yeah, it's from Virtue. 2 C4 still in play here for Fnatic, so not the end of the world. They'll still have some pressure they can apply using those. Fabian downstairs, though. Virtue's going to have to hunt him. You can see he's going for a long flank downstairs, trying to come up in storage. He can come up behind Fabian, deny the Buck skeleton key from below, and also allow for further C4ing from below. However, it won't be Virtue C4. He's already used his, like we talked about.
Cutting through the wall is Sir Boss, so we can see why that single heart breach is being used. Just Uno unable to follow up in the way that he needed onto Lusty. That should have been an opening pick for G2 as Lusty manages to get away. Now, he does lose 50 HP. But that's still a C4, because you noted Virtue used his. That can become crucial in the dying moments. Additionally, as long as you have a single HP, you are capable of fragging very well. Fabian will take out the Evil Eye Cam, wait to see if it's going to open up. Nope. There it goes, goodbye.
Yeah, Fabian getting a little annoyed at that cam. You could tell, though, the way he executed it. Beautiful play, though, on the utility.
Just a bit of negligence. So obviously G2, not particularly happy. There's Virtue down below. Goodbye to Fabian. That was the call that had been made by the Evil Eye as G2 looks to head on in through that statutory window. One for Lusty, one for Virtue, another for Lusty. That Valkyrie proving to be their undoing, and now it's Kanto Raketti in a 1v5. Silencing Tex, watching towards the doorway. Virtue with a team kill on the Lusty. Diffuser is surrendered though, and it's a swing from Magnet. Fnatic up 2-0 here on defender-sided Villa.
It's almost like the way that Fnatic are playing this is so unknown to G2.
Yep.
Because Fnatic are so far back. They're off in somewhere else. They're just playing a different bomb site. G2's like, wait, where is everybody as they clear in? And then they're getting late flanked by the most patient late flank I've seen in a while. Virtue came up from basement. He started next to Fabian. Like, Fabian and him were rubbing shoulders on the other side of the wall from each other, and then he went basement, crouch walked the whole way through basement, through kitchen, up Astro stairs, and then, oh, there's Fabian. That late flank took about a minute for Virtue to pull off, and it put his team in such a great spot. So congratulations, Virtue, for that. Well played. Patience is 10 out of 10. The rest of the team, the rest of the execution, also pretty solid there. Sorry, not execution, I guess really more the hold. G2 is struggling to find targets. That's the thing that I noticed the most. As G2 entered the site, they were like, where is everyone? They're pre-aiming statuary, pre-aiming Astro, Trophy. There's nobody there from Fnatic. They're all playing off-site, and they start tearing apart G2 as the entry comes in.
Obviously, Shas did not like that start in which there was only 3 kills, I think, to go around for G2, and all of them impactless. So immediately settling his boys down to see if G2's calmer heads will prevail over the next X amount of rounds. It's a best of 7, and there's only 2 rounds played so far, so it's far from over, and lots still to come. Fnatic, though, are 1 round away from completing the perfect cycle, and they'll look down at kitchen. So you had speculated maybe we'll see library or living room. We will not.
You know, I wasn't sure if we would. I was just like, maybe that's where Fnatic's going to start showing more of their what we're used to from them.
Yes.
Which is to say, like, odd stuff, something rehearsed. You know, something we're putting in work to figure out how this is going to work, and we're gonna make something that's going to upset the enemy because they're not going to know how to attack it. It's just standard again from Fnatic. I mean, they are not straying from the path, the beaten path. On G2's side, I'm only 2 rounds in. Still some people who are struggling to get to the scoreboard. Same thing for Fnatic even. A lot of great performance from Virtue, Mag, and Lusty. The hold coming out here is going to be a Mute Mozzie combo. C4 likely in the hands of Mozzie and Pulse for some vertical destruction. G2 will be clearing upstairs. They'll clear all the way over to Master, starting at Study. And then they're going to set up flank watch in drones and just guns watching the staircases. So G2 has a lot of job to do here as they have to clear out not only the top floor, but then hold the top floor. Takes a lot of effort. I honestly question the Nomad ban because of that. Nomad would be very useful here for G2. And if not Nomad, hey, you know, maybe Gridlock.
G2's a team that's played Gridlock before, most notably on Kafe. It was Uno, actually, and I think it was the first time we'd seen Gridlock after she came out of that quarantine, if my memory serves me correctly. But
I think it was actually, it might not have been the first time. I think it was just like people weren't using her or something like that.
Oh, you got baited. He's not quite where you need him to be, and now there's another C4. This one will not. There you go. Fabian runs over it.
Why? Why would you run onto it?
Best player in the world.
He must have assumed it was going to go through the bars and go wide, so he figured, oh, the only chance of me living is to get away. Wasn't the right decision in that situation. But I could see why he would make that decision. I probably would have too. Most of us would have. Unfortunate for Fabian. Very fortunate for Fnatic.
Not how you want to start this round, and obviously something that no amount of timeouts is able to teach you here is G2 could very easily lose their composure against a team that is obviously playing with a lot of heart and playing to do something that nobody's actually ever done at the Invitational before, which is defeat G2 in a best of 3. They've come out undefeated in their group the 3 years that they've been here, and though teams have beaten them on maps, G2 have never suffered a best of 3 loss in Montreal. In fact, at a major, the only best of 3 that they've lost was, if I remember correctly, against Empire at Raleigh. So that's it. It would obviously bode well for Fnatic.
Yeah. Through the years, G2 has been the type of team that you can bet on and, well, reap the benefits of your correct guess there. As they, they do pretty well at LAN typically, and especially, as you stated, at the Invitational. Uno is going to get Mentalist, though, on the entry after the wall got opened up. Magnet trying to flank there from the red stairs, but he's going to fall back. Virtue will get shut down by Uno. That's the second for him. A run out from Texas.
Oh, my God!
Big run out there, and Fnatic suddenly find themselves in a strong position. Pengu contributing, but now he's gone too. Meanwhile, Uno eliminated by Kitchen Door, and Fnatic 3 rounds in a row. A perfect cycle there on the first half, and they still have more defensive rounds to go.
I want somebody zooming in on Mentalist's face right now. Look, he's just chuckling away. And
He's a happy boy.
He's just chuckling away, and that's what happens. What an incredible play on the Legion to run out and take advantage of that. Virtue has awoken after a bit of a slow start here in the group stages. While he, was very kind of Virtue, as he was rated as one of the top fraggers for a couple events. What ends up happening? Well, Tex and Magnet take over. Very kind of Virtue to take a step back and allow them to shine, and now he manages to come alive. 3 in a row, the timeout. Not obviously settling down G2 and really prepping them for how to deal with that kitchen take. However, we don't know exactly what gets discussed when teams go into that vocal huddle, so to speak, with coach. Tom very easily could have been prepping them for the 2 more standard sites of Aviator and then Trophy Statuary. That would be my guess, is that he had some idea of what to do with kitchen, or maybe even library, as teams do tend to go there. But just in general, maybe something about role swaps. It's not really doing anything though, because it's virtually a similar lineup to what we've seen every time. The only real change was the Jackal. Everything else is identical from G2. So no implosion of their composition, the same way that we saw on Border after the timeout was taken by G2. So maybe just even to settle the nerves, and he didn't like something that he heard, because coaches are in the voice comms of the team. They just can't talk back unless there's a timeout called.
Must be weird not being able to talk to your team when you're playing at a LAN. The thing is, online coaches are plenty capable of talking to their players and being like, hey, do this differently, do that differently on a round-by-round basis, even in the middle of the round if they really want to interject on that. I mean, you can't enforce otherwise, right, because it's an online match. But on LAN, it's such a different restriction, and teams have to plan around that. It actually is a big distinguishing characteristic between the two, because you often will have teams that are used to being able to talk to their coach whenever they want, if they play a large role in the outcome of those rounds, and then suddenly come to LAN and there's only one moment through the entire map that they're going to be able to do that when they call that tactical timeout. Now, here we go. moving on from all that. That's a nice spot there from Cancer Aketi. One of the Valkyrie camps gone. G2 is on the back foot, yes, but they're not out of this just yet. And
No, not by any means.
And of course, as I will constantly remind, so everyone knows, if you lose here, you're not out of the tournament, so still got a chance in that loser bracket. He's trying to figure out if that's a hacked drone, but there's no Mozzie, so either that or he's just taunting it.
He
must have just been taunting.
I don't know what he was doing, unless there was somebody else from Fnatic that was watching.
I think he was just taunting G2, because there was somebody on that camera clearly.
Oh no, now there's going to be another Twitter thread about this. You can't taunt drones. So unprofessional.
No teabagging allowed. No.
He's almost doing it to the drone, but...
Bad.
Still, down below, Virtue has not been caught. It's Fabian who will watch for him. Wall opened up, so you have clear entry to A for G2 here. We were so preoccupied down below that we weren't actually looking at this execute going off. And, well, here's a good assessment of what's going on. 2 players from Fnatic playing inside a vault, 1 playing by default. Sirboss runs in. Down goes Cantor Raketti to Mentalist, but Sirboss is getting the plant down. Does Lusty know this? Yes, he sees him. Say goodbye. Unomeister covered by Magnet. It's just a fiesta right now with Magnet in a 1v2, so G2 could very easily emerge with the very first round victory. And because this happened so early, there's still drones and time left for G2 to prevail. A drone will skip over, and I don't know if Magnet got spotted. Noise being made from inside a study.
Attackers have recovered their
User gets picked up. There's going to be coverage, though, over from study. Magnet will need to be very good about this. Lighting him up, getting the down. His default plant. Magnet doesn't know. And immediately, the Tracers give him away, and Magnet just has no clue. Wrong calls from Fabian. So close to being able to pull that one off. But Magnet just picks wrong. G2 obviously not happy still, but that's something that you can begin to build momentum off of as they managed to take their very first round, and things could have gone even worse for them, going down 4 rounds in a row. Not today.
That was such an awkward round. And honestly, like, hard to watch Magnet not see Fabian, and then just the worst timing possible. Because then Magnet, he strafes wide to try and get a wider angle on the site, and that's when Fabian leaves the very little cover that he had available to get a better position. Oh, that was awkward. That was so awkward. And I'm so surprised that Magnet didn't win that. Aviator games the next bomb site, the same as the last.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
for
defused by
Fnatic.
attackers.
Big win there for G2. There will not be a flawless half for Fnatic. At least we have that answered. Fnatic's not going to have to defend Kitchen now, though, as they'll go to Aviator and likely Trophy next. Depending, of course, on how Fnatic goes in terms of the winning of the rounds. That was such a weird end to that round. And then the initial engagement we saw also was just, as you said, fiesta was the right word, as it was just, oh man, it was all over the place, really. We had an entry in through the bar go unanswered. C4s not coming out for Fnatic for some reason. Could have denied the plant behind the bar from Sirboss initially, instead of trying to rush it in and force it. Lots of kills on the peripheries. The roamers tried to come back. Pengu was holding that up. He was doing a great job by 90. And just in general, wonky round. And we've been seeing a lot of that actually with these teams playing today. Both G2 and Fnatic have both had some weird attacks, some weird defenses. The setup's going a little bit stranger than usual. The executions, the pacing's all off. It's just it has been a weird playoffs day. The first day of playoffs.
Fnatic have played so aggressively, though, even on their roams, on their site play downstairs, there's nothing that really seems to slow them down at all, and they're very comfortable playing this style on Villa, of which we have very limited information on. As we said, this is their most banned map. That was a note that you made as we were looking at, when we were still on Border, map number 2.
Most banned map in the most, few months or so.
It's like a 6-month window, right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So you deliberately go out of your way to avoid this, and now you bring it out against G2. You know they're a battle-hardened competitor.
Since November last year.
That's it for Mentalist. He doesn't want to sit around anymore, so he will abandon his shield as very nearly a member of Fnatic loses their head over as they go for a run out. Tex is given away as he could have been picked off of the window. That was very risky for Tex, but he's obviously playing off of info. I'd imagine that it's going to be a Valkyrie camera outside.
Yeah, he did just hop onto the cam, but we didn't see where it was. Don't know if he's on it anymore, but he's waiting for an opportunity to peek onto the balcony. He wants an opportunity, but it doesn't seem like G2's going to give him one. Maverick tricking going on here from Sir Boss. He's wary of C4s, juggling back and forth there, just to try and stay nice and clear. He will get that top. There's the C4.
Oh.
He does a lot of damage, but oddly doesn't kill Sir Boss.
I think it's because it hit the ceiling, so he must have been crouched. That sounds like another C4 ready to rip.
Oh.
Goodbye, Sir Boss. Did he get the wall open? He actually did.
Wow.
There's a part of it that's been opened up. That is as strange as it comes if you look at it. So very, very close to being able to get in.
True support player right there, ladies and gentlemen.
He died for the team. You can't teach that. That's what they say. But still, Fnatic, what is this? Unless my numbers are wrong, they've had every single opening kill so far.
I didn't get the last round, but I got this one.
Attackers have
Oh, we'll
recovered
check
their-
it later. What we do know is Fabian's going to get an 8 kill onto Lusty, and we'll get nice and even here. The plant coming down from Fabian behind the bar. There's no denial right now from Fnatic, but look at the spray coverage from Pengu. Virtue will get Uno. The diffuser's planted, so post-plant now for the remaining 3 defenders. Kantor, Ketty, and Fabian, though, in a bad spot. As Fabian eats that impact, he's going to be downed and eliminated by Virtue, leaving just Kantor, Ketty in study. He'll have to find 3, but he's plenty capable. He won't, though. That's the 3rd for Virtue. The retake for Fnatic, and a 4-1 on the first half. We're getting close to the end here. The question is, can G2 take 2 rounds off of this first half on attack?
And it's going to open up Trophy and Statuary, as well as Kitchen. I mean, any site, with the exception of Aviator, is going to be available for Fnatic to go to. And G2 didn't really seem to have much success at all. So, on anything, Aviator was the only site that they've won so far. They looked pretty good. It came down to a 1v1, essentially, with Magnet 2. So, this could very easily have been a 5-0, but obviously they wouldn't have been able to go to Aviator again.
Yeah.
Fnatic are not going to toy with a site that has any deficiencies in comparison to the standard sites, so Trophy and Statuary is where they shall go.
I will say, I do think that Fnatic, this is weird the way this is working out, because I do think Fnatic is, from what I'm seeing, they don't seem to really fully understand what they're doing here. There's not a lot of planning like we're used to seeing from them. That's not to say that they're playing poorly. That is to say that it doesn't seem like these rounds are going as Fnatic want them to exactly, if that makes sense. For example, every single one of these rounds, G2 has managed to make their way, or on the Aviator defense, they've managed to make their way into the game's bar, and then they start planting. Now, normally, I would think, oh, okay, Fnatic's expecting this, they're planning this. Maybe there's going to be a C4 or an Evil Eye or something to like deny that. And then, no, Fnatic gets the retake, but almost every time they get the retake in the post-plant, and it's not because of C4 or an Evil Eye or something that's planned. It's just like, rush, retake, go, you know? And that's, it's a bit odd. It's a bit odd. I do think, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it does definitely look like Fnatic are not as well set up on this map as some others. And the thing that's scariest about that is, well, what happens then if we get to the second half? Even if Fnatic go up 5-1, what happens on attack? Because attack is so much harder to do on this map if you don't know what you're up to, if you haven't planned it out, if you haven't thought it out. So it's definitely like a scary prospect for Fnatic. One thing I will say, though, is Fnatic are clearly jovial. They are very happy. I can tell by the way that they're playing. I mean, we saw that taunt of the drone early on by Tex. That's a double piece for Ketty. He's just lining him up and knocking him down. Fnatic find themselves at a 2-man disadvantage thanks to their own, I guess, wild peaks.
Hubris, Michael.
I was going to say hubris, but I thought it was too bad.
It's hubris, Michael.
Maybe so. I mean, they are up 4-1. What we do know is, again, yeah, and there's been a lot of fun plays from Fnatic throughout this.
Located a bomb.
I think that they're like, hey, we're winning on the map that we're not good on. Ha ha ha. Maybe that's something going on. They're not winning in this round, that's for sure.
There is a fearlessness the way that Fnatic is playing. The big thing is to obviously not tilt when things go awry. In this round, awry they have indeed gone. 90 seconds, G2, lots of time to be able to shore up their strategy and push from there. But Lusty has something different to say about that. There will be no hard destruction, and then following up, there will be no fire or smoke either, as Unomeister and Sir Boss are removed from active play by members of Fnatic. A retake from the Valkyrie, but he is heard, The MPX in hand, he manages to catch one from the back. That's Kanto. He was engaged in another fight. Another for Lusty. He's been having an absolutely remarkable series, and now pings for him and Virtue as the Diffuser is down a pre-fire, losing the fight to Pengu, but he's on 1 HP. He'll go on to Drone in a position where the moment that he moves, Virtue is waiting, just staring him down. Diffuser also surrendered, being brought to our attention. 40 seconds. The Pest will get Pengu. Virtue misses his shots, but he doesn't miss the follow-up. Fnatic, 5-1. That's the first half.
Virtue, the calm-headed man, second from the right, with the Kangaroo right in front of him. Beautiful play there, and an excellent clutch. The 5-1, yes, fantastic for Fnatic, but now as we switch to the second half, will it be enough is the question. Because if Fnatic's not comfortable on this map, it's more going to be on the attacking side than on the defense side that shows. In fact, honestly, on the defensive side, I think it worked to their advantage because time after time, Fnatic found themselves in positions that G2 just were not expecting. Every time G2's going for the entry, they're like, wait a minute, where is everybody? And then they start dying to crosses they don't expect. Now, on this half, that might reverse as G2 find themselves on the comfy spot of Villa. We'll go to Aviator first and see how it works for them. What a clutch from Virtue, too.
Yes.
Those impact frags.
Very, very impressed. Extremely and exceedingly impressed with the way that they did that. Virtue and Lusty. Lusty has hands down been the MVP, in my opinion, of this entire series.
Yeah.
He has captured so many rounds.
You know, another thing I just noticed there, if we bring up the scoreboard once more with that the details, Virtue's actually only got 2 deaths. Now, I've talked about this before, Parker. I always like to mention whenever I see it, when you go really deep into a map and you're just not dying, it feels great. Right. It really does. It puts you in a great spot. You're like, oh, I can't be touched. And that's where Virtue is right now. That's how he feels, and it will make him play better.
So there might be some theory here as to why Villa is the decider match. You are aware that in their exit interview after they toppled Empire, Fnatic said that they deliberately threw Bank to hide Kafe. The only time that Villa has shown up was when Fnatic played FaZe on it and got beaten very soundly.
Got toasted.
7-2.
Yep.
Did they throw Villa because they knew that they could beat on Kafe and Clubhouse? Villa was played by G2. They won 7-5 over BDS. There it is.
Well, I'm sure that if Fnatic win here, then they will say that they were saving this 100% guarantee. But what I'm seeing right now is it doesn't seem like either Fnatic is like 3,000 IQing it right now.
Yes.
Because their positioning is odd and their site selection is standard, or they're just catching G2 off guard because this is their plan. We're gonna play weird on Villa and it's gonna work out great. Or they just aren't fantastic at this map and they're playing in wonky ways because they haven't practiced it and it's catching G2 off guard. It's one or the other. I mean, either's possible. I'm not gonna throw my opinion into either one of those.
Utility work from Fnatic on the astronomy side of that second floor. It will not be a study take, as G2 have obviously been alerted to this and will now move themselves, their chess pieces being assembled over towards 90 and the back of the vault. Pengu was the lone member of G2 that was positioned over by study, and while he can continue to play there as the mute, or he can go elsewhere. Like we saw from Fnatic, there is a great deal of focus and emphasis on that trophy wall leading into Master, and that's where one of the exothermic charges of Lusty went. It actually looks like it might be a call over towards Study 2. A couple different members of Fnatic now moving towards the Study, so they've made this call. Let's shift our focus. The second EMP goes down as you can hear the Capitao bolts get fired out from Virtue's crossbow. G2 is sitting pretty. They have 30 seconds to ride off this storm as Fnatic's spread is all over the entire map. Oh, Pengu gets peeked on by Magnet, traded onto Virtue by Fabian. Both of these teams are close enough that you need to just go into the site and hope that you land your shots. Sir Boss is better rather, as he guns down Tex. Next one up, Magnet, spraying in. You can hear the sound of multiple guns being fired out. Sirboss losing, not another shot from Magnet, but there's Mentalist there. Lusty is down, so Mentalist in a 1v2, but he is totally lost, and G2 desperately needed that round, and they will get it. A strong start that they need for this defensive round will be another victory or two, but one is good enough for the time being.
Lots of planning going on there from G2, you can tell. Lots of thoughts being dished out. Very winnable, I will say. I mean, I really wouldn't be giving up on G2, even given that scoreline, just because of the way that these sites have been playing out, just because of the way that this half is going to probably play out. I don't know. That attack from Fnatic looked pretty lackluster, I'll be honest. The one thing that I was thinking might be the saving grace for Fnatic was Mentalist's play up the main stairs, because that could come up right behind G2. Unfortunately, it was poorly timed. The execution from Fnatic, the rest of them anyway, came at about 15 seconds. Mentalist's rush in was probably with 3 seconds to spare, something like that. I don't know, 5 maybe? It's hard to catch it on when the action's going as it is. What I do know is the coordination there, Fnatic's execution was not 10 out of 10, as you expect to see from them, as you're used to seeing from them even, as we saw from them on the first 2 maps. I think that Fnatic can push this to match point. I do think that it's going to come down to a little bit of luck and a little bit of just fantastic individual play. We're going to need to see someone from Fnatic really step up and start putting massive kills on the board.
The other thing, too, for Villa is just site rotation. Site rotation, site rotation, site rotation. If a standard team on Villa goes 4-2, Fnatic, just simply following that pattern, will win this match. There will be no overtime. So if they can take the 2 times that G2 will, lose on Kitchen or on Library Living Room, then that's good enough for Fnatic. They don't need to do much else. Now, obviously, they can go for the throat here by winning a trophy execute, which is a little bit more challenging to do, but it is definitely possible.
Yeah, Kitchen, of course, the low-hanging fruit, but still, it is often seen as a hard site to attack. Like, if you compare it to some other maps, it's on the harder side. Magnet ready for a run out there. Yeah, but on Villa, it's just that every side is really solid.
Yeah,
this is a
very true.
Very defender-sided map, period. Now, overall, nothing too crazy happening so far. Fnatic look to want to clear out from the game's Aviator side. They're going to start pushing their way up to the site. Likely going to transition over to the Master Balcony take later in the round, but I'm sure that'll just, like I said, be much later. No rush. Oh my gosh.
Lusty not ideal, and, well, that's... I don't really know how that happens.
That will probably dismantle the round for Fnatic, and we will go to 5-3 in all likelihood. That is a tilter. It's also going to put Lusty on low HP, but the biggest thing is it is a tilter. They had to use an E1D to get him out of that situation. Lots of layers to that, time wasted. It's just, it derails everything. And when you have 2 teams at this level going head-to-head, and every little thing matters, that can often lose you around.
Additionally, the other thing too is that Lusty will not be able to survive even a couple pieces of damage from a Nitro Cell or a Tase of an Evil Eye.
It died to a single shot from an ump.
Exactly. Lusty is in rough shape, right? So, well, Fnatic might have to hit the reset button on this round. First kill, Sirboss, guns down Mentalist. And G2 has the advantage, though it's by no means an early one, and you're not out of it, but there will need to be a trade quickly from Fnatic, or else they end up in even greater discomfort. Tex has lost some HP too, so 30 seconds left. Fnatic at mercy of the remaining members of G2. Pengu lying prone, nobody's going to see him there unless you pick correctly. He's prone in the corner. This should be Pengu at least able to collect 1 kill, and it's going to be Tex. There he goes, shotgun out. A second for Sirboss, it just happened earlier, and it's very nearly a flawless round. Yet another for Pengu, and G2 is not done yet. So Magnet drops down, he'll sit and wait. He's not going to go for it. Talk to his team. Dizzle might even call a timeout after this. Sirboss manages to survive a flawless round indeed as they all jump out the window.
So yeah, I want to give a little bit of, just so you know, I don't think that Magnet was fully paying attention in the round there. He probably had one hand on his mouse and was just like, see someone jump out, press mouse 1, and then, you know, meanwhile, he's probably talking to his team. So I know it looked kind of embarrassing there, but I really got to say, I don't think he was actually playing the game. As Parker was said, talking to his team, trying to set things up for the next round. Okay, so that execution there from Fnatic. The team down, for me, completely upset Fnatic. And I mean that in the literal term, literal use of the word upset. I think it tilted them. I think it put them in a mindset where it's like, no. Because the thing is they just lost a round. And, you know, in some respect, that's a momentum shift. That's it's starting to get bad. Maybe it's because of the half swap. And that gets stuck in Fnatic's brain, right? And then they start shooting each other because they're trying to react too quickly to things. And then that gets stuck in their brain. And now Fnatic has doubled down on that bad mojo. They're going to have to start working that out. Hopefully for Fnatic's sake and all of their fans' sake, they're going to be able to just reset, like you said. Just pretend that last round didn't happen and come at this kitchen attack with renewed vigor. What we do know about the execution apart from that is that Fnatic were executing from the south side leading into the top floor north side. They got up against the site, entered into multiple crossfires. Done deal. Pretty easy hold there for G2. Sir Boss, a real standout.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
I'm glad to see Sir Boss settling in and being more comfortable in his role and capable of adding to the scoreboard. It's the G2 fan base can be notoriously volatile when it comes to
Ruthless?
who they support. I think Ruthless works.
Yeah.
They can be very difficult to the newer members, and you know, Cryan got to go through that, and essentially what was a trial by fire given the circumstances that G2 found themselves in. He was never really set up to succeed, regardless of whether his stats had him succeeding or not. So
yeah,
I'm glad that Sir Boss is able to keep a good head and continue to add to the team's, I guess, success, because this being Villa, this is far from over. There's still so much left to play. Anywho, there was an E1D burned. It looked like an EMP as well. It is a kitchen defense downstairs for G2.
Pengu has eaten just a bunch of damage. Look at that. Finding himself on just a sliver. Sir Boss dies to a nade from Lusty. This could be the opening that Fnatic needs in order to push it to match point. Pengu dying to just about anything, and having already expended his C4, things are looking great for the Australians.
And there's a Finka boost as they look to just run on in with the smoke ban. This could be very effective. Lusty spear in hand finds Fabi, and Pengu also the remaining shred of HP. Wiped from this earth. Kanto Raketti punished, and Uno in a 1v5. Looking almost certain that Fnatic is going to be able to take match point here, as Uno might just even mentally reset. It doesn't look like he's going to drop. Nope, there he goes, right down. It's a flawless round for Fnatic to give them match point, series point. And for the first time, we would see Fnatic advance to the semifinals at the Invitational.
Wow, big round there for Fnatic, and clearly they did hit the reset button in between those rounds. You can see even Virtue, who had downed his teammate earlier, really happy. He's like, you know, it happens. You know, that's great to see. You always love to see a team be able to bounce back like that. Now, it's not done yet. G2 still plenty capable of bringing this back in their team's favor. They're going to go to Aviator as well, which is a solid site for G2. They've won it in the past. Interestingly, the site rotation for both of these teams is just standard Villa. No variation whatsoever, which I guess is, I mean, like, it's not bad or anything. It's just an interesting thing to note.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
The operator selection for Fnatic is a throwback and a half.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that.
And they're running with it again.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting lineup, but it's an old lineup that doesn't see use much anymore. They've been bringing the Lion for, this is the third round now, I think, or no, it's the second round they bring the Lion. And this is the first time they're bringing Finka. It's different.
It's a Finka last round.
Did they?
It was Lusty.
10 seconds.
Are you sure?
That's
Oh yeah.
right there in front of you.
So the second round that they brought the Finka. Well, no, sorry, it's because it's like 2-3 minutes behind.
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to.
Attackers must locate
Just having a
and defuse
joke.
the bomb.
Okay, that's it. So we'll get underway with what is going to be a potential.
A potential. Just having a joke. Oh, it's a potential.
We all misspeak, Michael, okay?
No, it's not allowed, Parker.
My bad. We have to be super humans who never ever misspeak, but
It's unforgivable.
a rush here could very much set off a, I don't know, surprise victory for Fnatic. I do think this is very much a surprise. Magnet tweeted out before the match today that he very much wanted to be the team that defeated G2.
I mean, it's looking like they might just... 1 or 2 opening kills here is all it's going to take.
I mean, even if Aviator goes in the way of G2, then they have to go back to Trophy, and then it's another map, either it be, or another site, be it Kitchen or Living Room Library. So, Frag Grenade from Lusty, or Frag Grenade from Magnet, actually, rather, does not go where it's supposed to. It might be able to take out some utility, but no damage done. Fnatic look like they want to take the bottom floor and then move from there. They're very limited in their vertical destructive capabilities.
Magnet is in a position where he can pinch onto Kanter or Ketty, but Uno's going to be the one to actually getting the kill. That's the entry, or not the entry rather, but the initial kill for G2. Mentalist the Lion gone, so no more EE1Ds. Nade misses there. Uno did eat a lot of damage when he peeked earlier, so at least there's that for Fnatic. He'll die pretty easily. Kanter Ketty ready for the push. Kajmat detonates, and that should be the kill, but Kanter Ketty's missing the shots. That's really unfortunate for him. Tex also gets Fabi, and suddenly Fnatic looking pretty solid.
Yeah, the numbers and health advantage very much favoring Fnatic, because there might still be one left Adrenaline Surge. One Adrenaline Surge left. I can't exactly tell here, but with the Lion being down, there's no EE1D left to freeze them in place. Yes, indeed, there's still one Adrenaline Surge. Final bit of utility from Virtue, but they are ready for this push, and Fnatic are being rebuffed perfectly by G2, barring an incredible clutch, which is still very much possible. This is G2's round to lose. It's Magnet in a 1v3, and it's going nowhere in a hurry. That's another round for G2. They've got 3 rounds so far on defense. The only way they come out of this with a victory is through overtime. Fnatic have 2 more rounds to seal the deal.
Really solid hold there from Pengu at the top of main stairs, gotta say. Came in clutch, not allowing anyone to push in through study or to push up the main stairs. Tactical timeout called by Fnatic, and they're going to contemplate the next rounds. Dizzle knows that his team just needs 1 measly round to end this match. Just the one of the next 2. And he's trying to give his team the exact plan required to fulfill that goal.
The one thing that works really well with being in this position is that you are on attack. You can set that tempo and go for something really cheesy or something really, really cheeky. If you've got a pocket strat saved up that you don't expect, or your opponent doesn't expect to deal with, you can do something about that. You still have a couple more seconds left until you can swap out your operators before going to 6 picks, so if they want to change, there's time for them to do that. But looking at this lineup, I mean, you've abandoned the Lion, you've abandoned the Finka. It's pretty standard. You've got that soft destruction as Zofia comes out and Nash comes out to join the Capitao, Thatcher, and Thermite, and that's it. Will a 6th pick, though, be there for Fnatic in order to maybe confuse G2? Or will G2 have something up their sleeve? Well, it's a clash on Villa, interestingly enough. Mentalist will move on to the IQ, was likely designed to hunt the Pulse, but no, he'll stay on the Ashe instead, and a Trophy Statuary Room defense is where G2 will hang one of their remaining 2 hats, if we may use that turn of phrase. The clash is going to be very interesting, and is one that Fnatic might not drone out right at the start.
If G2 win on Trophy, they will have to go to Kitchen for their final defense of regulation. Kitchen is the only site Fnatic has won an attack on. If that continues, if Fnatic win that Kitchen attack, G2 are going to be knocked out of this match, pushed down to that loser bracket. There's always a possibility that G2 is going to be able to get these 2 rounds. It's not done yet.
Attackers are moving out to locate a
Clash is an interesting pick there for Fabian. It'll be used to hold on to Astro.
It's those aliens again.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Goyo.
It's a mute jammer, maybe?
Yeah, somebody placing a mute jammer in here?
Yeah.
It's not on the defense right now, but could be in real life. I don't know. One of the cosplayers arrived early. I don't know. Anything's possible.
Per chance.
I bet you that there will be at least one actual mute jangler at the Invitational. At least one.
There was an ADS at one point, wasn't there?
Yeah.
The previous one, so. Well, do we see a heart-stopping finale slash conclusion with the plucky band of underdogs and Fnatic being able to defeat G2? That's the real question that we have here. By the drone being shot, at least Fnatic gets some information out of that, and it's that, hey, there's somebody actually playing inside of Astronomy. There's also a drone set up for flanks from Magnet. Mentalist shows 2 drones, but one of them is dead, so it's not entirely accurate. Clash spotted out, and, well, your bullets aren't going to do anything to it, Tex, but you can continue to open up some of that wall so that you don't have to worry about any pressure coming from the bathroom. The Clash can just get courted towards the stairs in Astronomy, but it's Fabian playing it, and he's a little bit smarter than to just give his life away.
If Fabian knows he needs to play passive in Astro, wait it out. Try and slow down the enemy when the actual push comes out. That's Clash's job. EP going in there, Lusty's going to try and go up and exothermic the wall. He's got to be careful of a lot of things here. Virtue's going to try and assist with the impact tricking. Flashes as well to double down. It goes as low as possible to triple down. They want this wall open badly. Impact comes out, it's successful.
Sir Boss doing his job, exchanging 25% of his HP for a very crucial piece of Lusty's utility, and with that Fnatic will be all out of exothermic charges, so that wall will remain intact. And a Clash on the board. This just got mighty challenging for Fnatic, and will be remarkable if they'll somehow be able to get out of this. They still have full utility from Magnet, smokes as well for Virtue to push. The Clash will face down the Thatcher. Oh, not aware that Sir Boss is on the ground. There's 1 kill, traded off, 2 for Kanto Raketti. Where is Tex? He's heading in through Master. He's got the hold in the door. The Clash is still alive as well. This is the real issue for Fnatic. There's a massive time soak that is going to come in, and you don't have anywhere to go but through bottlenecks. There is the challenge that presents to you. Tex shooting a couple times. Magnet is there. He catches Kanto Raketti. Some damage being done. You still have Mentalist in play as well. It's a 3v3, gunning down. Fnatic know how much is on the line with this, and they are going to have to go for broke. The Clash is right now side turned, plant going down, will come on in, full coverage. Is there a C4? Is there any way to stop this? The Clash blows up the Goyo shield. That might be enough. A big play from Fabian. Diffuser is down, and it's Magnet now in a 1v1 up against Uno with Pengu bleeding out. Still explosives from Magnet, so he can get underneath this Diffuser. He shoots 1! Some damage done to Uno. Magnet almost getting both of them, and the Diffuser is still ticking away, but Uno knows he's going to have to go for it. There's Magnet, but he loses the fight. Uno, what a clutch with tons of time. G2 will stay in this. So close for Fnatic. But we will need, of course, the very final round between these two teams. Unless we have overtime.
2 major misplays there from Magnet. 1, he used both his lifelines to try and kill the person who is picking up the downed player. 2, and much more egregious, he didn't use his final stun. Maybe there's an ADS that we don't know about, but I don't think so, because he used a lifeline earlier in the round to stun across Statuary. He could have just knocked Uno off that Diffuser. He could have just saved one of the impacts to open up underneath the Diffuser. So unfortunate for Fnatic. That could have been match done. And now it comes to the very last round, and more importantly, Fnatic will be demoralized after a result like that.
You know what that is for Magnet? That's just nerves.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's just nerves. Uno was entirely stationary, and just as he's getting off the plant, that is a kill with very limited contest from Magnet. You don't even necessarily need the stun, so they definitely would have helped. He very easily could have won that. Uno was only at 40 HP, give or take a couple percentage points. Nerves, man, nerves. So for people that say that, you know, everybody's cool under pressure or that these guys are well practiced, Magnet has played at how many lands? In this instance, it's nerves. So downstairs to kitchen, and Fnatic will immediately default back to the strategy that worked so well last time. They're going to roll with that same Lion and Finka duo, but you have to know that G2 is going to be expecting and prepared for this.
You know, the crazy thing is, and I gotta be honest, I feel really bad for Magnet, because if Fnatic lose this now, it will be traced back to that 1 point right there. there were so many opportunities for Mag to lock it out. It just didn't happen. And, I mean, that's the sad reality that Fnatic currently live in. But there's still potential to set their own fate, to win this next round, deny overtime, or even win in overtime if it comes to that. They set themselves up well. Fnatic were winning that. They were taking that round solid. The Clash presented a lot of issues. The fact that they couldn't open up the wall because of Sir Boss's impact tricking, a lot of issues. But in the end, Fnatic were going to take that. That's a hack drone there. That's going to give a lot of information over to G2. Really useful that. The real big tricky bit about the hack drones is that you have to second guess, is that ours or is that theirs?
Gumine gets shot, and Virtue want us to see if somebody from G2 is going to head their way. No, says G2. Very simple answer.
Nothing really unfolding so far. Ooh, Pulse in the basement. I wonder if this has been read from Fnatic. Doesn't seem so. I don't think they're aware. They might be with that Claymore placement. I'm not really sure. Lots of information being called out here from Fabian. The thing that suggests to me that Fnatic are not aware of the Pulse downstairs is that that is such a rarely used place, the basement, and then even more than that, it's even super rarely droned.
The other thing, too, is that there's only a couple spots where you can actually see 4 because the area in the basement is mostly solid. Kanto Raketti with 1, but gets drawn out by Mentalist. There's Fabian coming alive. Finka boost means that this could be done in a hurry, but there's a Gumine to slow down the advance of one member of Fnatic. Down goes the Zofia through the hole that was opened up. A Claymore trades out, and this just continues to go and go and go. Inside the site is Lusty with a kill of his own. And Mentalist and him will have to find the 2 remaining members. There goes the Adrenal Surge, trying to determine the locations. Their Goyle Shield goes as well. Lots of damage that's been done. Lusty will try to take out the Gumine. He's got Mentalist nearby. There's still 1 Adrenal Surge. There might be another EE1D as well. It's a 2v2. Very winnable for both teams. Still, the biggest amount of pressure is going to be on the shoulders of Fnatic. Diffuser going down. Lusty is very close to being able to do this. Through the wall, soft destruction, successful plant from Fnatic. But there's Fabian to take out Mentalist. Lusty is still upright. He's going to have to head on over and watch this Diffuser. I called him one of the most pivotal people in this tournament. He gets a single kill. Pengu versus Lusty in a 1v1 with Diffuser down. You couldn't write this any better. Another 1v1 for both of these teams. Where's Lusty's position? Counter diffusing from Pengu. Up you go, Lusty. Up you go. But Pengu's there. Lusty gun out. Some damage done to the Goyo around the corner. Who's better? Lusty is, and Fnatic is the first team to take out G2 at the Six Invitational ever. Fnatic, they'll be in the semifinals, and you can see just how much this means to them.
G2 descend into the loser bracket. Their Invitational's not quite done, but it's gotten a whole lot worse. Fnatic, on the other hand, elated and proving that their upset over Empire was not a fluke, proving that APAC came to this land to play.
I am just, that's one of those games where both of these teams give it their all, we give it our all, and it is really hard for us to tell you how significant this moment is. By the time of the Invitational in 2018, APAC was but an afterthought for most regions, and yes. G2, then known as Penta, was by far and away the most dominant team this game has ever seen. There was high praise sung while criticism leveled from members of G2 towards various APAC teams and the region as a whole. And the team that has been the world champions for 2 years in a row, looking for the three-peat, having to be invited because they didn't qualify, suffered their very first best-of-3 loss in the history of this event.
That's a pretty significant statement there, and a big one for Fnatic. But let's hear what the analysts think about this incredible match.
Raleigh champions, Empire. Take a look at Six Invitational 2019 champions, G2. Both knocked out by Fnatic APAC's finest Dev Martin. What's on your mind, man?
Dude, I have no words. Not only have Fnatic beaten the 2 most esteemed teams in Rainbow Six history, but they are going to be the only team in Rainbow Six this year that will have been to all 4 Six Invitational main stage events.
Insane.
I mean, we've talked about Revenge of the Empire before. This G2 was going to be back for blood, but man, what a match between these two. G2, a lot of mistakes to learn from both teams, really, but G2 did not drone. They did not use roam control ops.
No.
They did it to themselves. They stubbed their toe into everything they could find on this map, and you saw the opposite come out from Fnatic. They bring Lion, they bring Fika. They're ready to rock.
Yeah, and it almost doesn't even feel real. G2 has never lost a series at the Six Invitational. And now, for the first time ever, we brought in the double bracket. So we'll see them in the loser side of things. While Fnatic, they're going to move on ahead. They have a chance to reach the finals, and it's looking extremely real at the moment. But Virtue, Magnet, Lusty Tech, everybody on this team went off. But to you, who was the standout, Dev?
To be honest, I know that this is a bit cliche, but the entire of Fnatic was what got them through this game. It wasn't one particular player. We had some huge moments. Lusty had to win that 1 versus 2 at the end. Magnet got so close to winning this round right here in a 1 versus 1. Tex had great entries. Virtue was stepping on up, but Fnatic isn't 5 individual players. Fnatic is a team. They're known for their chemistry. They're known for their coordination. That's what they do better than almost anyone else in the world, and that was demonstrated with Finesse here.
When I heard Australia was on fire, I didn't think they was talking about Fnatic. These boys definitely came to play, but let's talk about G2 now.
Yeah.
What do you expect from them? We've seen them dominate Siege for such a long time. You know, back-to-back champions, the best team in Siege history. Now, you know, they've fallen in the first round here.
I mean, I think it was a huge mistake. Going into Villa, of all maps, a huge roamer map, a huge defensive-sided map, and they don't bring something like Dokkaebi or Lion. Dokkaebi, I think, would have been perfect. Well, I think seeing that would have really changed the game for them.
Yeah.
They brought Jackal the first round and then gave up on it and didn't change the entire lineup after that.
Yeah, they got destroyed by Roamers in the first round despite bringing that Jackal. And I think that made them think, oh, these Roamers are too mobile. Jackal isn't going to work against them. Honestly, the secret ingredient I think G2 were missing was the Nomad that they banned against themselves.
That's what they needed.
2 maps in a row. And man, it was tough to watch for G2. That said, I don't want to say that this was G2's game to lose. This was Fnatic's game to win, absolutely. Whether it was in clutch moments, whether it was in the macro strategy. I just want to point out, this is APAC Siege right here, bringing Lion and Finka to suppress aggression. G2 played really well around it though. As soon as Fnatic were on match point, I walked over to Dizzle. They were taking a tactical timeout, and I heard they were saying, look, the pressure is on G2 here. Find a weakness, pick out the low-hanging fruit, look at who's alone, collapse onto that player, get the first pick. G2 is then going to try and play aggressive to try and make a play. You just suppress that, cut off rotations.
We saw it.
Yeah.
We saw it. And speaking of pressure, G2 definitely collapsed. Let's take a look at the updated bracket. I don't even know what to think anymore. So much has happened so far here at Six Invitational. What we saw today, TSM will face off against Fnatic in the upper bracket semifinals. Also, Dark Zero, they're waiting for the winners of the next game, Space Station Gaming and MIBR.
So we have 2 NA teams already in the semis, 1 APAC team. There's a chance for Latin America to get in there, but Europe, not so much.
What's going on with Europe, man?
Yeah, what?
NA's time to shine.
So NA and APAC.
I guess so.
Don't count out Fnatic.
Oh, I'm not. But there's going to be 2 teams in grand finals, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, we could very well see a rematch of that in the grand finals. Been talking to several players hanging around here at the hotel at the venue here, and it's so difficult to pick who's going to make it to that grand final. Honestly, we haven't seen MIBR Space Station yet. Maybe that'll give us a better indication, but I can totally see Space Station or Dark Zero, Fnatic, G2, even TSM. I could see any of these teams making it into the grand final or taking the whole championship.
I'm so excited right now because for the first time ever, NA, it's looking really good. We have the most in the numbers still in the winners bracket, and I've been waiting a while to say this, but EU, we're gonna own you. But coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you stick tight because we're gonna have the Beast from Brazil and MIBR. They're gonna face off against the Space Boys, SSG, right after this